Welcome everyone today. I'm President Emily Stevens and call this work session of April 1st, 2026 to order. The time is 4:01. I would like to remind everybody to please silence your electronic devices. Let's go ahead and open 1.01 flag salute. Trustee Zamora, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand.
All right. Before I open 1.02, is there anyone who did not get a chance to complete a public speaker card? All right, great. Trustee Zamora will make a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam President, members of the board, I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Fantastic. Can I get a second? Trustee Biasotti?
I will second the motion.
Awesome. Let's vote. Motion passes. Okay, thank you. We will now open item 2.01. This is not an action item. Board committee reports. This is where we get an update from each trustee who represents or is a liaison for one of our board committees, and they're going to update us. The first one on my list is the bond oversight, which is me. There was a recent meeting, trustees, with the Bond Oversight Committee. I was on vacation, so I did not go to the meeting, but I did get an update from the chair of the committee, Ms. Blackham, and she said they've been doing a very detailed review of the facilities master plan that was recently presented, at least the stage that it was presented in, and they're hoping to make a recommendation to the board maybe at their next meeting. So I'll have that available to you maybe in the month of April. Next, we have Council of Great City Schools Board of Directors, so that would be Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to invite Trustee Dominguez. Yes. Yes, okay. Then for me, on the Council of Great City Schools, I as well, they have their meetings at 5:30 a.m., which is not conducive for those on the West Coast. So I do not have anything on the Council of Great City Schools, but I do have something for the National School Board Association.
Okay, we'll go in alphabetical order, so we'll get there. Then we have the Debt Management Commission and the SNRPC. So that is both myself and Trustee Esparza Staffordgan. For the Debt Commission, nothing right now. In fact, I think we have a meeting this upcoming Thursday. But for the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition, they have disbanded. It is not official until I believe it's the month of May. It will officially be disbanded. They have instead started a new committee that actually does not have a seat for the Clark County School District, but they have promised to keep us informed. Their work is going to be a little bit more towards, if I recall, it's more towards advocacy locally around city council type stuff, not necessarily education. So we will that will fully be disbanded in May, and we won't have it on here moving forward from that point. The next one is NASB, Nevada Association of School Boards, which is Trustee Bustamante Adams and Trustee Zamora.
Thank you, Madam President. It has been the first 90 days, which ended yesterday, have been extremely productive for NASB. We were invited to be able to give a presentation in front of the Joint Education Committee about the organization and the training that it provides trustees. In addition, they had a legislative workshop, not only for school board presidents, but also for legislators up north over the last 2 weeks. And in that conversation, it is to build relationships across both northern and southern Nevada to affect education policy. For southern Nevada, the date is coming up on April 21st. You should be getting an invitation shortly. And it would be to hear from the legislators in the South about their ideas for education policy. As a former legislator, I know that the number of bills focused on education have been hundreds and hundreds. And as we increase our relationship with the legislative body and also the executive branch, I believe that our ability to be more strategic and intentional will improve. And so that's all I have. Trustee Zamora, do you want to add anything?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I also want to take a moment to thank the board members who completed the survey that came from the Nevada Department of Education back in January. There was only a 2-week window. Also want to thank community members who participated, but specifically with the board members, one thing that kept coming up in conversations was board members are not bringing their voice to these conversations. It was the star ratings, if you all remember that survey. So thank you for those who took the time. I also want to remind our members, we have a training April 25th this month. On the agenda, we will be doing the future of learning. We will also be connecting with some Southern Nevada legislators that morning for breakfast. We will also be doing the 2027 legislative strategy development. So just make sure to please register, put it on your calendar. It will be at the Doubletree Hilton, which I think is like south of the Strip. So I hope to see all my colleagues there and participating, because I think it will be a great conversation. Also a great start of legislative session and meeting our legislators.
All right. Next, we have NIAA with Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. All of us have probably seen some of the news having to do with our football realignment in 4A and 5A that's been in the news recently. And all of us did receive the press release from that was forwarded to us from the Executive Director of NIAA, Mr. Tim Jackson. But I can just do, without reading the whole thing, I can just kind of summarize it real quickly. So basically, all 30 of our Southern Nevada 4A and 5A schools have opted to go into independent status. So that means that they are still going to be aligned with all the rules that apply to NIAA, but they will be on independent status for the required 2 years. All the principals, all 30 of them, were in agreement on all this. Before they decided to do this, they met with all of the families and school communities to make sure that they got input on this. And also to deferring to our superintendent, I believe that we did send out a statement, I think that came from the district, as far as in support of that. So that was determined to be the best pathway for our kids at this time. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I will tell you, though, that my notes here, I left my reader glasses in the truck, so if you see me squinting, I took off my contacts and I forgot my glasses, so good thing I memorized that. But anyway, that's about it for NIAA, and our next meeting, if anybody would like to follow it, it is live streamed, and our next meeting is April 14th and 15th, and it will be held at El Dorado High School.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. Next, we have the Oversight Panel for School Facilities, which is usually Trustee Esparza-Staffordin, but she's on a phone call right now, so we're going to have Trustee Satori go ahead and brief that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Updates provided by Trustee Esparza-Staffordin. She said there are no updates other than the next Oversight Panel for School Facilities meeting will be held May 11th at 2:30 p.m. Also, please attend our upcoming Facilities Master Plan community meetings that will be held in the upcoming weeks. Those are, visit the website linked for those locations and dates.
Thank you, Trustee Satori. Next, we have Public Broadcasting Service and American Public Television. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm excited to announce that Vegas PBS Workforce has launched its new virtual reality online training programs. And our cabinet has had a chance to try those, the virtual reality online training programs. And it's through an exclusive demonstration event for community partners, government leaders, showcasing the station's cutting-edge, hands-on approach to the workforce education. Also, Vegas PBS and Workforce presented a statewide vocational rehabilitation vendor day. And the Las Vegas HEALS Medical Career Expo hosted a CSN partnership with Opportunity Village. So a lot of great collaboration happening. And I do want to note that Vegas PBS supported CCSD early learning initiatives through 18 family engagement workshops and distributed 575 take-home books to families and participated in the CCSD Family Academy and early childhood programs in Laughlin and Bunkerville. And I want to make sure, trustees, if you'd like, there is an event happening April 16th, if you'd like to join us. An evening with Vegas PBS. It's Stories That Shape Us. This gala celebrates the stories, education, and community connections that public media make possible in Southern Nevada. So if you'd like to join us, please, to the members of the public and to our trustees, please join us. And lastly, I want to do a plug for the special education library that Vegas PBS has. If you or know somebody that has a special needs child that could really benefit from the educational resources that are available there, please go ahead and look that up in Vegas PBS. On their website, they have the special education library, and you can see more information on that. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Normally, we'd have the Public Education Foundation. Trustee Johnson got caught in another meeting. He's on his way. So, School Name Committee, Trustee Henry and Trustee Cavazos.
Do you want me to say anything?
Thank you so much. I'm going to defer to my colleague. Thank you, Trustee Cavazos.
You're welcome, Trustee Henry. We haven't had any we have not had any more school naming committee meetings, and I'm going to look at Ms. Sarah over here. We don't have any scheduled yet, right? And but we do have an exciting event tomorrow evening at 4 o'clock, and it is not naming a school, but it's the Yvette Wintermute dedication ceremony. I believe it's the Beth Howe Building 2. Is that correct, Superintendent? I'm looking at her. We're gonna call a friend here, but that's we're excited about that, and so that comes under the school naming committee, and that's tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and we're really excited to have that tomorrow. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. That concludes 2.01. Now we're going to open 2.02, also not an action item.
I'm sorry, President, I had a question. I didn't know if we were able, I didn't want to interrupt, but I had a question about Council of Great City Schools. Would it be okay to go ahead and ask about that on the report?
Well, we have, in 2.03, we're going to get an update on Council of Great City Schools from Trustee Dominguez, who went to their
Okay, great.
conference. You want to do it
Okay.
then?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it then.
All right, so 2.02, National School Board Association, they also had a conference not too long ago where Trustee Bustamante Adams and Trustee Zamora attended, and they're going to provide us an update.
Thank you, Madam President. So I had this report a while ago, but please bear with me. So in February, the National School Board Association conducted an advocacy institute, and so I had the privilege of attending the institute in Washington, D.C. alongside Trustee Zamora, Trustee Nicolette from Washoe County, and also the Vice President of the Nevada Association of School Boards, and Trustee Whitaker from Churchill County, who is also the Nevada NSBA regional representative. And so it brought together school board leaders from across the country to align around federal legislative priorities and strengthen our advocacy efforts on behalf of public education. So NSBA on a national level has 6 federal policy legislative priorities for Congress, and they're in alignment with what we're looking for, which is full funding of IDEA. That was the main topic there. expanding and strengthening and retaining educator workforce. And the number 3 was strengthening investments for career and technical education. And so we were able to meet with all 6 of the Nevada federal delegation, both in the Senate and in the House. They were very receptive. Now, here's the critical part. None of the 6 representatives that we have for our state sit on the Health, Education, Labor Committee. That is a yellow flag. Now, we do have 2 members that sit on appropriations, so it balances out. But when it comes to this topic of education, they're not part of the committee. They don't get the briefings. They have to work with their colleagues across the aisle and within in order to be able to affect education policy. So I believe that our strength of sharing the stories, we were able to give them Clark County data, at least from Trustee Zamora and I, and then some came from Washoe and Churchill and the state in general. Since that time when we were visiting, the funding for appropriations had not passed, but soon after, when we got there, they did approve the FY 2026 appropriation package through September 30th of this year. So still critical and still important for us to share the stories with our federal delegation. They were extremely appreciative that we took the time to be able to set the appointments. And like I said, each one of them received us well, and we're so grateful to be kept up to date on what's happening at the ground level and how they could advocate for us. Trustee Zamora, do you have anything to add?
Not much. You covered it really well. I just want to also focus a little bit on the days before we actually had these meetings. There was trainings. We had really good trainers to kind of walk us through each one of the priorities. And what I appreciate about it is they gave us action steps. They were like, here's the problem. This is where we're at. This is the history. Here's what we need to advocate when we're meeting with our delegation. That kind of breaks it down really easily, I think, for us, because we see a lot of data all the time, but this was very intentional of breaking it down for us. And then we had leave behinds, which also made it very easy. So I wanted to share that part. I will also want to share the positive. One thing I kept mentioning to our delegation is that we can lead in the CTE world as a state. Like all of our high schools have CTE programs, and that is something that I think some of our delegation wasn't aware of for Clark County. So yes, we have this negative narrative that, we're the bottom. But with CTE, I told them we can lead in this, when we're showing unity this way, because Washoe definitely jumped in, shared some of their CTE programs that they have going on. So I think it was great for a mix of people from the state coming together to advocate for the same issues. So that's all I wanted to share, but thank you.
Awesome. All right. Does anybody have questions for our trustees? Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry, Superintendent. Go ahead.
It's okay, thank you. So as part of their trip to Washington, D.C., very honored to announce, and they are well aware, that the Clark County School District was awarded from NSBA in partnership with the Center for Digital Education, the second annual Innovative Technology Integration Awards from NSBA Advocacy Institute Conference in Washington, D.C. We were one of 2 school districts that were selected in the large category, which for them starts at over 60,000 students. So we're well above that benchmark. And I was just really happy and both of them came back excited. They had a certificate at the time. And since that time, we've been awarded and sent additional information that the award celebrates the entire school district, transforming teaching, learning, and operations through bold and creative uses of technology. CCSD was specifically recognized for a system-wide approach to infrastructure, modernization, cybersecurity, and digital learning at scale. So these awards highlight the powerful impact of technology when districts and leaders work hand in hand together to implement best practices for all of our students. So it's really fun. I'm going to come to you as president. They sent white gloves and the award to make sure that it got directly to the trustees. So if I may, and I'm sure we'll take pictures later, but I'll bring this up to you for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Superintendent. That is fantastic. It's all of us. It's you as well, and we're just very proud. And I look in the audience, and it's all of us. So thank you. Moving on, that wraps up 2.02. I'm going to open up 2.03, which is Council of Great City Schools 2026 Annual Legislative Policy Conference. Trustee Dominguez went to this, and she's going to give us an update, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam President. I did attend the Council of Great City Schools Legislative Policy Conference of 2026. There was a lot of information. As you know, we got these big books, as we do every year, and we're going to try working on getting everybody an electronic version of that. So I wanted to just point out, because I think it's really important that, I know for everyone here, but for our viewers, nationally, the state of Nevada is among the lowest in funding for per pupil funding. And so I think it's really important that we make sure that on the federal side, that their investments to K through 12 education in public schools is not just flatlining, and it's still increasing. So one of the priorities that I wanted to point out here was increasing funding for Title I IDEA Part B in federal funding FY27 to help districts deliver high-quality instructional vulnerable students, as well as ESEA Title II funding to support teachers and school leaders who are effective in boosting academic achievement in schools, ESEA Title III for English learners, which has not been able to keep up the pace with the nation's growing number of ELs. And so I thought that was really important. And then, of course, we went through all of most of the lawsuits that were occurring through the Supreme Court that have made it past the district courts. And it was a quite extensive list, and it was really interesting to see which way they went. And I did want to note that we did have there was a tornado in DC. So, and it was kind of funny because the Senate was also coming back into town at the same time. So with the weather, it kind of got a little crazy, but I was able to meet with Congressman Horsford's staff and kind of give an update, and they did open up their communications. They're like, we haven't gotten a lot of educational inquiries, and so if we have any, we can send it to them if we so please. And so at that time when I was there, the Senate had just returned from recess, so I wasn't able to meet with those representatives on that side of the House. But overall, it was a really good conference. And then I ran into the Washoe County president out there. So that was kind of funny to see her also representing. So, and I'll open up to questions. I know, Trustee Cavazos, you had a few, but yeah, overall it was a great, very informative piece of a conference.
Thank you so much for the report, Trustee Dominguez. I was wondering if there were any particular, I know there's a lot of workshops, it's hard to choose, they're all at the same time. If there were any particular ones that really stood out to you that you thought would be really helpful for all of us to know?
Yeah, so there was the one that I went to was, and I'm trying to recall with my brain here, well, the educational priorities on Capitol Hill was super important. I thought that one was really, the House Committee on Education and Workforce, that one was very informative. And it's just kind of, it's interesting, the dynamic to see how, on the federal side, how each department is working with each other. And what they're saying is that they're not getting a lot of collaboration with what's happening in the Department of Education. And so I think just like with anything, they want the lines of communication opened up. Mm-hmm. And I, that's something I can agree with on that. end of it. And then there was also, trying to go back here. I sat in on I'm trying to remember what it was called, but I can't recall here what it's called, because you just go to all of these as they pop up. But it was the one with where we're going through all of the cases and all of the Supreme Court cases. So that one was very helpful, and just kind of understanding the amount of cases that are happening just in the last year, and how it's just been a year, so it's not like nothing's being resolved. So they've gone past district courts into federal courts, and either they're pending or they've been sent back to district court. So it's not really a decision, but also
Pending.
no decision is also a decision. So
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is the first time that I'd ever missed that one, so I was really glad to hear your report.
yeah,
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I was the first time I went by myself, so I was glad to represent, and I would love to answer anyone else's questions if they had any.
And I think that we can request, I'm not sure, I know I did, and they said they would be sending me a copy of that, because I like to have the one to write all the notes on, et cetera, like you do.
Yeah, no,
So-
I definitely did, and so I did put the request in, and
Great.
see what we can get those electronically for you.
Thanks so much.
If anyone else has questions? Go ahead, Trustee Biassiata.
Hi. I was wondering, when you were there in DC, were there other school districts that were also simultaneously being represented?
Yeah, so nationally, there was a lot of other school boards there. I think they even list us in here somewhere in their book here. And I'm more than happy to hand this over to you so you can look at it. But there's, I would say probably every single state had a representative and had, I would say maybe they had, if not, maybe most of the school districts there. So, and I did notice if a district didn't have a trustee, they might have had a COO, they might have had a superintendent. So somebody from the team was representing a lot of like most of the states, so yeah. And then I know the weather was a little weird, so people either could make it in or had to leave out.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I don't see anybody in the queue. Okay. So that wraps us up for 2.03. I'll go ahead and open 2.04. Also, not an action item. This is a presentation and discussion regarding the implementation of Ron Clark Academy strategies. And I will open it up to Dr. Welsh.
Thank you and good afternoon. And while we assemble a team of mighty Avengers here, this amazing team, Avengers, like the Avengers, we're assembling like the Avengers here. It's like a bunch of stars here. Happy to share some information and updates regarding implementation of the Ron Clark Academies here in CCSD. With me today, I have Dr. Kayleen Ellis, Principal Black, Principal Jefferson, Principal Yee, and we have a student as well from Lawrence Junior High School. And so we'll dive in and share some information about where we are with some of that implementation that's been happening here in CCSD.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Kayleen Ellis for the record. The Ron Clark Academy, RCA, is a national demonstration school serving grades 4 through 8 in Atlanta, Georgia. This school is focused on high expectations, relationship-driven practices, and a strong focus on the human skills. They've trained over 150,000 educators globally to transform student engagement, achievement, and school culture. In CCSD, this work began around 2012 as a principal-led innovation. Feeder school leaders attended RCA and came back with strategies focused on engagement, school culture, and shared expectations. Because of the strong early results in school climate, adoption spread organically through professional networks, shared resources, and also school tours to over 100 schools today. These strategies are also a foundational part of our new teacher pathway, ensuring our newest educators build strong classroom cultures from day one. Our school leaders engaged in this work have identified 3 drivers of success: culture and belonging, instruction and engagement, and leadership development. Across these 100 schools, Leaders have implemented strategies to build belonging and student motivation through house systems, student recognition, high-energy teaching strategies, classroom transformation, and also opportunities for leadership. This work is directly aligned and connected with the 3 essential themes outlined in our Community Dream sessions: relationships, experiences, and environments. As you'll hear from our principals this afternoon, strategies for culture and belonging have built environments where students feel safe and seen. High-energy teaching strategies and classroom transformations have created learning experiences that drive academic rigor. And leadership development has fostered relationships and durable skills our students need to thrive now and in the future. At this time, I'll pass the presentation over to Principal Jennifer Black at Lincoln Elementary School.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the school board, and Superintendent Ebert. My name is Jennifer Black, and I am the principal at Lincoln Elementary, home of the Lions. I have led this school community for the past 15 years. In 2017, I had the honor of opening our new building and wanted to rebrand and implement updated systems and structures to better support our students and staff. So the school leadership team and I participated in a 2-day professional learning session at the Ron Clark Academy. Since then, 45 more staff members have traveled to Atlanta for the Ron Clark Academy experience. Tonight, I want to share a few highlights of what we have implemented at Lincoln and the positive impact it is having on our school community. When we opened our new building in 2017, we implemented the house system inspired by the Ron Clark Academy to build a stronger sense of belonging for every student. From the time they enter school, every student is placed in a house that promotes connection, collaboration, and positive competition across grade levels. The house system allows us to break down grade level barriers and build relationships across the entire school. Students participate in house activities that reinforce teamwork, leadership, and accountability. Staff members are also members of the houses, which helps model school pride and strengthen our school culture. As a result, students begin to see that their actions contribute to something bigger than themselves. Classroom transformations bring learning to life by immersing students in creative, hands-on experiences aligned to academic standards. These lessons increase student engagement, curiosity, and participation in the learning process. When students are excited about learning, they are more willing to persevere through challenging academic tasks. These experiences support our goal of creating motivated, confident learners. Whoops. At Lincoln, we refer to our approach to culture and learning as the Lincoln Way. Our pride framework, perseverance, respect, integrity, dependability, and empathy guides student behavior and expectations throughout the school day. Students regularly practice these values through daily routines, recognition systems, and collaborative learning experiences. This consistent focus helps students develop both strong character and strong learning habits. While culture and engagement are important, we also know the board is focused on outcomes. I'd like to share how these efforts are positively impacting our school community. In 2023, we had an index score of 15 on the NSPF. We increased that to an index score of 45 in 2024-25. Our student survey data reflects that 93.59% of our students feel we promote academic success for all students. Since 2016, we have reduced the number of behavior incidences by 50%, and our human resources data is something to celebrate. We have a higher licensed retention rate than CCSD for the last 3 out of the 5 years, and a 5-year average classroom fill rate of 96.5%. As John Gordon reminds us, culture isn't one thing, it's everything. Pride isn't a program at Lincoln, it's the culture we build through every system in our school. Thank you. I would like to now pass it to my colleague, Miss Angela Jefferson.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Ebert. For the record, Angela Jefferson, proud principal of John Tartan Elementary School. Last year, I stepped in as a brand new principal at Tartan Elementary School. While the house system existed on paper, it was a title without a heartbeat. My mission was to breathe life into those houses and use them as an engine to transform our culture. At Tartan, we are divided into 4 houses. My house, as you can see, is Sabindi. This is the House of Courage. Amistad, which is the House of Friendship. Rever, House of Dreamers. And Altruismo, House of Givers. We are 4 houses, 1 Tartan family, transforming culture, elevating achievement. We, my friend Ron and I, believe belonging changes everything. We turned belonging into our strategy for achievement. At Tartan, we moved away from the house system being just a name and made it our identity. It's who we are. It provides every student and staff member with an immediate sense of belonging. As you can see, this spirit is visible throughout our hallways and our school. This is not just school spirit, it is the core of our culture. When students feel like they belong, they show up, they engage, and they achieve. Now when a student walks through our doors, they are not just another child. They are part of something bigger, and that changes everything. In the classrooms, you'll see energy, music for transitions and engagement, purposeful movement, student goal setting, connection, and 100% participation. We've aligned our positive behavior interventions and supports, also known as PBIS, system with our house system. Students earn points for being respectful, on task, always safe, and responsible. Also academics, attendance, and growth. Students redeem house points for individual rewards and experiences through our Roar store. As you can see, I'm there with students who have earned Paint with the Principal, and they had a great time, and so did I. What used to be compliance is now ownership. Students aren't just following rules, they're representing their family. This healthy competition is tracked on our school-wide leaderboard, keeping motivation high and encouraging every student to contribute to their house's success. Students now take immense pride in earning points for their house. In case you missed it, Isabindi is leading the house points. We've seen a massive surge in our family engagement also through events such as family house nights, math nights, and even an RCA-inspired sneaker ball. Amistad hosted a house skate night. Parents aren't just spectators anymore. They are wearing house shirts and joining the culture. In our staff, this is where the transformation has been undeniable. Where Tartan once consisted mainly of substitutes, we now have a staff of fully licensed teachers who are choosing to stay and invest in our students. When adults feel they belong, they stay. We've been fortunate enough to take 2 small groups to Ron Clark Academy. Life-changing is one of the words used by one of my teachers to describe her RCA experience. After bringing the RCA experience back to Tartan, our culture has been re-energized. You see and feel the excitement all the time, even during professional development days, and definitely during house competitions. Our school social worker, inspired by the men of RCA after his visit to RCA, came back and started to dress up on Wednesdays. You can see it has grown from him to more of the staff. Our team has built meaningful connections beyond the school day through staff-led house gatherings. For example, our Revere team in the blue up there, they organized an off-campus dinner for their house to bond, which inspired my house, Isabindi, to come together for our Bindi brunch, friendly competition. Through the house system and a shared commitment to Ron Clark strategies, staff morale has soared, creating a culture where connection fuels everything we do. As a staff, we have committed to Ron Clark's being just 1% better each day, and this is my 1%er up there in the green, greeting students and families outside each morning before school. Connection. And that same energy shows up in the experiences we create together. We designed house trucker hats that staff proudly wear to show their house pride. Sharing moments like these help us connect beyond traditional academics, strengthening the bonds that make our school feel like a family, and it's fun. And the results speak clearly. The data proves that when culture thrives, achievement follows. From fall map assessment to winter map, we saw a 13-point jump in reading and an 8-point jump in math. We've cut chronic absenteeism by 37%. We've created a place where students want to be. And we've reduced suspensions by a staggering 89%. But the most important data point isn't on a chart. The true why is found in the people. We have a large number of foster children at Tartan, one that has struggled to find stability. Recently, one of our students said that he loves being able to talk to the adults in our school. He's built that connection with our staff. For him, we aren't just a building. We are the stable family that he needs. We haven't just implemented a system, we have created a family. 4 houses, 1 Tartan family. We changed what school feels like for our students. And in doing so, we unlocked the potential of every child who walks through our doors. Thank you, and now I will turn it over to Principal Yee.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Alan Yee, principal at Lawrence Junior High School, home of the Lions. So we have 2 Lions up here. Thank you for having me here today. As you've probably seen, there's a consistent theme of core pillars in each of our schools. I'm hoping to reinforce that and examine how Clifford J. Lawrence Junior High School shifts to meet the developmental needs of older students, focusing heavily on leadership and high-stakes engagement. Pictured here, you will see the 4 of our 2024-25 Global Amazing Shake finalists and staff coaches with Mr. Ron Clark in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have the privilege of having one of those former Global Amazing Shake champions, Adis Alvarez Marino, here with us today. At the heart of Lawrence Junior High School's culture is our PRIDE system: positivity, respect, integrity, duty, and excellence. This PBIS program isn't just a poster on the wall, it's the root of every difficult and encouraging conversation we have with students. In addition, this is where we have students earn points for embodying these values, redeeming for tangible rewards like house gear, student store snacks, and entry into exclusive special events. Throughout the year, the leading house and many students who earn PRIDE points are recognized on TV screens throughout the school, at house meetings, and Student of the Month events. The leading house recognized also on our live leaderboard and by having their flag flying in front of our campus. At the end of the school year, the house champion is announced and has an opportunity to celebrate with a house party. House Rever, the House of Dreamers, was our inaugural house champion last year. R-E-V, R-E-V-E-U-R, that's their chant. Even though I'm a proud member of House Alterismo, as is Adis, our House of Givers, RCA teaches our community to celebrate each other throughout the Healthy House competition. One aspect that is unique to Lawrence Junior High School is our house system is our intense focus on durability skills challenges called the Safari Scholar and Amazing Shake program. The Ron Clark Academy instituted this type of competition, and Lawrence Junior High School retrofitted the program to align with our community needs. The Lawrence staff saw that after COVID, there was a clear need for our school to tackle the seemingly impossible task of teaching essential skills such as respect, professionalism, emotional intelligence, tolerance, and grit. Rather than teaching these skills in isolation, our staff decided that we would roll out a series of real-life scenarios, lessons, and competitions that all students participate in throughout the school year. These scenarios are connected to relevant and real-life situations that our students and community are facing each and every day. Throughout the Safari Scholar competition, community partners, business leaders, district representatives, and educators from all over the Valley judge, score, and provide critical feedback to our students. Each challenge is tied to NVAC standards and uses approved CCSD Tier 1 curriculum. All 1,200 students have the opportunity to participate in multiple school-wide challenges. Top scorers from each round move on to our school gauntlet, then to semifinals, earning their way to the CCSD Regional Amazing Shake competition at the Junior Achievement Center. This year, our CCSD Regional Amazing Shake expanded from 7 middle schools and 85 students participating to 17 middle schools and 160 students competing. At the most recent regional Amazing Shake, our middle school students were faced with a challenge that connects them to a vital Las Vegas industry, music festivals. Each student had to be prepared to interview to be the 6-7 music festival manager. I don't know what that means, but I'm supposed to do that every time. And complete 20 challenges that a music festival manager may face. These stations' challenges ranged from helping reunify a lost child with their mother or diffusing an angry festival goer who was told by security that their selfie stick was not permitted. After months of challenges, a few schools, Gibson Leadership Academy, Gunderson Middle School, Fertitta Middle School, Cashman Middle School, and of course, Lawrence Junior High School, selected school champions to represent the community at the Global Amazing Shake at the Ron Clark Academy. Recently, Lawrence Junior High School, Gibson Middle School, and Gunderson Middle School had students that scored in the top 50, and Gunderson Middle School had an 11th place finalist, 7th grader Nyla Walker, who also won our recent CCSD Regional Amazing Shake hosted by Lawrence Junior High. At Lawrence Junior High, we focus our Safari Scholar and Amazing Shake challenges on relevant and current event material while maintaining a focus on NVACS and Tier 1 material. Pictured here, you can see one of our students analyzing a mysterious residue that was left at a crime scene where a thief stole the Mona Lisa at the Louvre. This was connected to a specific Amplify lesson. This consistent focus on grade level standards was ingrained in our school culture through extensive training during PBL or project-based learning, which works seamlessly alongside the RCA house system. PBL lends itself to healthy house competition, with a specific example seen with our school-wide 6th grade PBL, where students were challenged with diagnosing Elisa, also from the Amplify curriculum, where students are formed by houses, and Ron Clark non-negotiable expectations are seen when students present their PBL deliverable diagnoses to a panel of medical experts and educators. Students at Lawrence Junior High share commonly scheduled teachers, meaning students that have the same English, reading, science, social studies, and math teacher, to form a schedule team. This supports educators' ability to collaborate and communicate between each other and with families with increased levels of consistency and deep understanding of personal interest and goals for each of the shared students. This is based on the teaming initiative that was seen at Arizona State University's Next Education Workforce and subsequently implemented at Lawrence Junior High in 2022. Within each scheduled team, teachers have students of all levels and from all houses to ensure equal access and a continuation of that focus on healthy house competition. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Adise to discuss her experience of the house system and the Safari Scholar and Amazing Shake program.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Adise Alvarez Marino for the record. I moved here 3 years ago from Cuba without knowing English, and the first school I ever attended was Lawrence. In 8th grade, they introduced me to the 4 houses, which encouraged teamwork, friendly competition. I was in the Altruismo house, and I was later chosen to be the head of Altruismo. This not only taught me how to lead, motivate, and organize my classmates, but it also helped me become more confident in myself and my English skills. Also, the house system helped maintain a spirit of competition, and it pushed my peers and I to be the best version of ourselves in order to gain points for our house. A few months after, I was presented with the opportunity of competing at the Global Amazing Shake while representing my school with 3 other classmates. Before competing, my school supported me with practice sessions from staff members and classmates. Although I didn't win, it was one of the most important events of my life, as it allowed me to connect with students from all over the world, while gaining experience in public speaking, problem solving, and soft skills that I believe every student should be taught. Later on, I participated in the last round of our school-wide Amazing Shake, where I won. These experiences helped me grow as a leader, and it led to my election as a freshman class president, continuing my leadership path. Thank you so much for your time. I will pass it back to Mr. Yee.
To successfully implement the RCA house system at Lawrence Junior High, we made a commitment to the involvement of community partners, business leaders, and our Lion families. We've established over 20 community partners, including Metropolitan Police Department, Garden Farms, Silver State Schools Credit Union, Home Depot, and more. Families are involved multiple times throughout the year, from housing ceremonies to PBL house presentations and the Global Amazing Shake observations and volunteering. Our families purchase house swag like Isabindi Grandpa, and some homes even have split houses with one child in Altruismo and one in-house Amistad, so that's always fun. Since the implementation of the RCA House system, our schools experience a profound shift in student engagement and behavioral outcomes. By fostering a collaborative environment where every student belongs to a smaller, supportive community, we have seen a drop in chronic absenteeism, an improvement of social awareness, and most notably, our discipline has moved from a staggering 703 suspensions in the years prior to the House system to a projected 248 this school year. We are proud to report a 97.5 staff retention rate, which is a testament to the fact that the House system creates a sustainable and fulfilling professional environment. Collectively, these data points confirm that the House system is a cornerstone of our school's upward trajectory in both character and scholarship. Thank you, and I'll now turn it over back to Dr. Kayleen Ellis.
As we look ahead, our goal is to move from the organic, principal-led growth you've heard and seen today into a strategic support system. This means connecting the successes of schools like Lincoln, Tartan, and Lawrence through 3 key areas. First, professional learning. By establishing RCA professional learning communities, we can ensure that as more schools opt in, our leaders have a space to share best practice and maintain the high standard of implementation our students deserve. Second, instructional coherence. Our principals have emphasized an opportunity to prioritize vertical alignment within feeder patterns so that the culture of high expectations, strong relationships, and high energy environments established in elementary school follows a student all the way through graduation. This alignment turns engagement into a vehicle for the Nevada Portrait of a Learner, where activities like the Amazing Shake become the classroom, mastering durable skills like critical thinking and communication. Finally, we have an opportunity to focus on outcomes at scale. While you've heard significant success stories from our spotlighted schools today, we're committed to tracking these metrics system-wide. We will measure how these experiences move the needle on attendance, behavior, and academic proficiency, ensuring this model is a sustainable engine for success across the district. Thank you.
Thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions or comments you guys might have.
All right, trustees. Trustee Zamora.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the presentation. I am a household that constantly yells 10 points for Gryffindor when something positive happens. So I appreciate seeing this in the schools. And it is friendly competition, I think, within the kids that they get to get out in a positive, controlled way, right? So I'm excited to see that. The question that I have is, one of the schools, has an increase of parent engagement. Do any of you do any type of parent participation equals points to that house, or do you all tie that together at all?
Thank you for the question. Yes, we have started providing points to students that come and attend, and the parents must attend with them. So they do earn a participation point for participating in our events. And also we do an open house. We incorporated that with Family House Night, and we taught the parents and families about the house system. And so they were very excited, and they do, get the shirts and wear them, and they're very proud. And so, thank you.
Can I do a follow-up? Yeah. Have you had any situations where parents have complained that, it can be sometimes unfair because of availability, life is just happening and they're not able to participate in open house? And if so, how are you handling those conversations?
No, we haven't personally. There's a lot of opportunities for them to earn points. And so that's just another way to earn points.
No, and that's good to know because, as the program grows, I feel like these are some things that can happen and if there's already conversations happening. But given the other opportunities, I think it's also great to share. Quick question for Mr. Yee. Is your tie custom to your house?
Thank you. That's a great question as well. No, it is from the Ron Clark Academy. I bought it this weekend when I attended the Global Amazing Shake. And my wife did text me and say, that's the most expensive tie you've ever bought. But it was worth it. RCA being a nonprofit, all their proceeds go back to scholarships for their students to go either to high school or into college. So they definitely give back to their students.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. And then my final question, lessons learned. Throughout the program growing, what are some things that you have learned we're kind of changing it up so it fits into your schools? That's it, sorry.
I can answer that one. So when we started all of this, it was pre-COVID, right? And then COVID hit and it just totally threw a wrench and everything. However, through COVID, we were still able to carry some of this, online. So then when we came back, we had a grand opportunity to really ramp it up. But each and every year, we make it bigger and better, do more things, change it up, because the kids do get tired of the same things. We do, like tomorrow's our Splash Bash, so House of Respect for us won in March, and so we changed the house parties. We ask our student council is our pride council, so they're nominated based on the core value that they emulate. And so they also have input, so student voice. And just back to the earlier question, we also have parents earning house points if they attend. They've spun the house wheel, so they have a house team. So it really can be a full community-wide effort.
Thank you. Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you so much. I have heard about this model, and you helped to anchor and cement by talking about the wins and tying them to student outcomes. So thank you. It makes a big difference. My question, Dr. Welsh, has to do with the strategic alignment with community engagement in their efforts to bring in businesses. And in addition, like professional learning, does that mean, Dr. Ellis, like a train-the-trainer model? Because I know you sent 45, you sent a small group. I don't know who Mr. Yee sent, but is that possible, and is that in the plan? And then, Mr. Yee, thank you for inviting me to the Amazing Shake. I got to do that and go to Junior Achievement and watch. I remember you. I was stunned, because employers talk about that our students don't have durable skills, or the soft skills, whatever you may call it. Not true. And that demonstrated to me that we can, and they do. And my question for you, Mr. Yee, is when is the next Amazing Shake? And then number two, I saw a lot of girls participating, which I was so proud. What is the ratio of involvement around, now that you have an increased number? Are the young men equally interested in getting out of their comfort zone and push themselves to learn the durable skills? So,
How about we work it backwards, Principal Yee? You want to start, and we'll work back this way?
Put me on the spot, yeah. Thank you for attending. I know some other school board trustees have attended in the past as well. And truly, you are right that our students do have the skills to be successful with those durability skills. And it does take us teaching some of those skills and practicing and honing in and fine-tuning them. And that's exactly what our Amazing Shake and Safari Scholar program does. It's an interesting question to look at the demographics and to look at the male-female ratio. I don't have those statistics, but what I can say is that every student in our school learns these lessons with focus and intention in the classroom, and then those challenges are open for every student to participate in. And I do see students, both male and female students, that are interested and do want to be winners. They're celebrated. They are so happy. And I would like to investigate a little bit more about that ratio. And the next one for next year, we're still solidifying those dates. Hopefully I can continue to work with our principals at the middle school level and as well as our elementaries to see if we can expand that. But we're looking at January of 27 for our next regional. I know that the Global Amazing Shake in Atlanta will be in March of 2027 as well.
Thank you for the question. In regards to professional learning, you asked about trainer-trainer models. I think it would be really hard to duplicate the experience of visiting RCA just because it's very comprehensive, and I think the interaction with students just gives you that kind of lifelong core memory of professional learning. However, we have the beauty of the the implementation here is that it started with, 2 schools and it's now over 100 because principals are leading the innovation and sharing practices across schools. So I think in regards to the district support system, it's really about providing that space where they can share practice. Even when we had them come in and do a practice rounds with this, they're like, I want to know about what you're doing here. I want to know about what you're doing here. So I think creating that space where principals can kind of build off each other's ideas, there's an opportunity there to grow the practice and the high engagement strategies. And I think also without visiting, you can engage in book studies, you can involve your parent team. There's lots of other ways to access, I think, some of these highly effective practices that they've shared with you this afternoon.
Trustee Bustamante Adams, to your question, yeah, business and partnerships definitely ties into, I know, one of the key areas that we are trying to focus on. Again, really involving our community, and I think this is a great example of a way that many of our businesses across the valley can positively engage in schools. It's not always about, a donation of things. Sometimes it is even time and being able to assist and having people help, like with the Amazing Shake. I think the other piece that I would really highlight too is, we talk a little bit about the strategic plan and some of what we've heard so far. We hear consistently that desire for safety and belonging in our schools. And I think that's an important piece to emphasize here with this, is that this is, I think, one positive way that you can see that a number of our schools that have implemented Ron Clark Academies have been able to increase that level of engagement and belonging, which we know is critical.
Thank you. Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, first of all, thank you so much to Dr. Welsh, Dr. Ellis, and to our principals and to our student for being here today. We always love to have you come over here and present to us. And it seems like we have a lot of lions and tigers. We're just missing the bear. I think they were just missing some bears from one of our schools, and I know that we have that mascot out there. So couldn't resist that, sorry. I love the social emotional components that you guys presented, where it's intertwined with the academic data, where we see the differences that you guys have observed and documented as far as behavioral status, the chronic absenteeism, and just even the index scores overall. I mean, that is so encouraging. So I have a couple of, and I'll try to go fast here, just like little technical questions here, some of which I think Dr. Ellis answered already. How many schools do we have that are using these strategies right now? Whoever wants to answer.
Yeah, I can answer that. Our last survey of schools, we have 66 currently implementing Ron Clark Academies or strategies.
And I will tell you, I think it was Tyrone Thompson that I was at, I'm not sure, but I have to tell you, the competition I was there for, I don't know about how friendly it was. I mean, those kids were fierce. They were fierce. They were really engaged. I stood back and just kind of watched. So when you send a cohort of teachers, get the training, and how many teachers do you send? And then I think one of my other colleagues asked about the training, the trainer training, the implementing the rest of the school in this. How do you guys do that? And does it matter who answers? Whoever wants to answer.
So the first time that we went from Lincoln, it was the leadership team, so it's like myself and 14 teachers, assistant principal. We wanted to expand it just beyond teachers because, as you know, we have lots of amazing support staff as well. So the second and third time that we went, each time actually, both of those times, sorry, we had them fill out like a Google survey, why they wanted to go, what they were going to do with that information when they came back. But we sent 15 licensed, 15 support. So we've had the majority of our staff has been. It's dependent on the funding, right? So when we had that money, and we were able to allocate it toward professional learning, it's about $2,000 a participant.
Okay.
When you pay for the 2-day professional learning, airfare, hotel, food.
Okay.
So it's really dependent on funding. That's why maybe some schools haven't had the opportunity to go, because they have to have the money in the budget.
Right. So you said 2,000, and you went right into, you already answered, you already read my mind here. So it's about 2,000 per person. That comes out of your own school budgets then.
Right. We allocate the money when we open the budget for the budget cycle. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. You answered it. I mean, so great. Thank you so much. So how does each school, does each of you get to decide, how many of your staff are going to go? And you answered my question, Principal, about the survey and, why they want to go. And how is that handled when you get back if you have people that have not gone yet and have not had the incredible experience of attending the Ron Clark Academy?
Thank you for the question. Like I mentioned earlier, I am a second-year principal, and so when I became principal last year, I had never had the opportunity to be at a school with the house system, although I was aware of it in Ron Clark. And so as soon as I got there, I planned a trip. I took my school leaders. I tried to make sure that I had one from each house so that when we came back,
right.
those are our house leaders. It didn't work out that way. And so that became an issue later. Lesson learned. But when you go, it is such an amazing opportunity. And so it is hard to just emulate that or but you try your best. So when we came back, we did our training to our staff. We shared strategies, experience, pictures as much as we could. But it's not the same as being there, like my colleagues have said. We took another team at the end of the summer. And so we've had about 12 staff members trained. I would like the opportunity this summer, to return and take back support staff and more, because everyone is so excited about it, but you can't explain it. You can't do it justice. When you're there, you're immersed, you're watching Ron Clark teach a lesson and all of his amazing staff. And the students, you get so excited. And so hopefully we'll be able to take more, but it does depend on budget. And so that's what we do, though. And I took Dr. Ellis's page out of her book when she started. And for my staff, the first time we did a kind of like a golden ticket, or the second time we did the golden ticket. The first time I just selected my team, but the second time we did a golden ticket. And so they did a video that they had to present and share, or just let me know how they were going to use the strategies when we came back and share it with the staff. So it was a really big deal. It was exciting. So I look forward to taking more.
Okay. Thank you so much for that answer.
you.
I really like that golden ticket idea, too, with the videos and everything. So thank you so much, both of you, for your answers. I didn't know if Principal Yee wanted to add anything.
Yeah, we also do the same thing. We send out a survey. We celebrate when staff are selected. I'll tell you that our staff believes in this so much that they will cover classes. That's a great thing about having the teaming aspect. So if you are missing a colleague on your team, you just take that class over because you already know the students because you're sharing those students. But I can tell you, and I'm glad we've been talking about the importance of sending our support professionals, because some of the most palpable buy-in is from my campus security monitors, who are absolutely amazing. My computer technician, who has gone twice now. He was part of one of the hurricanes, so he got a free ticket back. He got 2 golden tickets, and they are some of the most involved they're vital in the house success. So we definitely make sure that we include them as well.
Thank you so much, all of you, for your answers. I didn't know if our student wanted to weigh in on that or,
I mean, I want to say, according to our school, all of our teachers and all of our staff members, as he said, they're so, into these Ron Clark Academy strategies. And I think it's great how, I remember back in 6th grade, I didn't even knew all the teachers, and then by the end of 8th grade, I knew everyone. And it wasn't just because I had their class; it was also because they were always participating in the house meetings, in the assemblies. Because we usually do house games, and then each teacher from each house will participate, and it just seems like such a great opportunity. I really hope all of the teachers could go, and I really hope they could get more funds in order to do that, because I couldn't imagine being a teacher and not being able to go, but then seeing a student and going and having that experience. For me, it was just great. So I will hope that every teacher could have that as well.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
I just want to add one more thing. One also wonderful aspect is including our self-contained programs. So that has been a logistic situation that has worked really well with the support of my entire staff. The students that are in self-contained autism programs or SLD programs, whatever it may be, they all share the same house, so they can attend the same house meetings together with the support of their SPTA who's housed, as well as their teacher in the classroom. So we work really hard to make sure that everybody our ELL students, our special education students, our general education students, everybody on campus is involved. So they've also been able to attend, and they feel included because sometimes they feel excluded with their programs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I got to experience this when I was there at Tartan, and I've just been seeing it all over my district, this house system. And first, I wanted to the sense of belonging that one of the students wrote here it's just truly what it is about bringing the community together, bringing our kids together, and making them feel wanted and belonged in the classroom. So my question was for, you spoke a little bit about funding, and thank you, Trustee Cavazos, you asked some of my questions, so I only have one. So how can we encourage other school principals to take this on? Is it a funding issue?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I mean, I'm sure funding, is obviously a question. Again, there's other ways from at least the conversations we've had in terms of how schools have gotten started. Some of them literally start with just the book study. I know it's not the same as the full experience, but, there are some schools that got started that way and things of that nature. I think, as Dr. Ellis was sharing too, creating those opportunities for folks to be able to be part of PLCs and learn more from each other in terms of those things. I think that's another way that, school leaders can connect and kind of find out more. I think that's probably the most effective way at starting. I know when I think about it, you think, well, if something is effective, why not do it everywhere? Well, obviously there's a big piece of the buy-in with this, and you can see that, the buy-in is really part of what makes this so successful. So you've got to have a leadership team and staff that are bought in and committed to this for it to be really effective.
Yeah, no, I saw it, I felt it, even on last Friday, I went to Hayden Elementary for an SBAC rally, and each house had a cheer. So it was very cool to see that, and so, however we, for the leadership listening, this is a great opportunity, it's a great model system to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Satori.
Thank you very much, and I am very familiar with Ron Clark model, but I have not had, and I have wanted to very badly. I want to attend. I have not had the opportunity yet, so I do have some kind of logistical questions I'd like to ask. And Principal Yee, we had the opportunity to visit. I don't know what the event was. I think it was right at the beginning of school, and so hearing your students speak about Safari Scholar and how well spoken they were about it, I'll tell you, I actually went home and started looking on your website and learning more about it because I was the way they spoke about what they were just so, like I said, well-spoken, invested in it, and I wanted to learn more. A couple of questions I had. So I know elementary and middle school. Do we have high schools participating as well?
We do not yet as of this time, although we do have one or two that have expressed some interest.
Okay, thank you. And then in addition to sending staff to Ron Clark Academy, what other, and maybe some marketing and, signage and such, what other costs are incurred in coming on board?
Thank you for the question. We've incurred some costs. We have a house banner flag that we fly each month for the house team that won. We have signage around the school, which mostly has just been made by our own staff, but it takes a little bit of money. So any of the shirts that we sell, anything like that, the parents buy. So that we generate a little bit of money back into student-generated funds, which then support the house team incentives.
Okay.
So
there's no other materials that need to be purchased along as
not
you're
really.
doing. So it's all
it's more a mindset, attitude of the staff, and to make it what works for your school. As you can see, it's a little different in each of our schools, but that's what they tell you to do when you go back. You're not going to be the Ron Clark Academy, so that's why we selected the 5 core values that we selected, is that we wanted to make it, for Lincoln.
My question, and I have an additional question if I may ask too, kind of ties into that too. When you were talking about selecting, and that was a question that they vary, they're selected. If students, let's say though, I was kind of wondering how they select those in the student buy-in, and if they then say, oh no, I'm meant to be in this house, and I don't, can I switch, and that kind of thing.
So in kindergarten, so if you go to the Ron Clark Academy, you get to slide down this amazing blue slide, and you're slide certified. So the first year we did it, we had the entire student population out on the field, and every student had to go down the slide, and when they got to the bottom, they had to draw a colored piece of paper, like, I mean, low budget here, right? Out of the bucket, and that was their house team, and so they ran to that house color. So now what we do is they stay on that same house team all the way through 5th grade. So if they're new to the school, we have a house team wheel on the panel, and they spin that at lunchtime, and we cheer, and, you know, we give them a little wristband. Kindergarten still does the slide. So like about the second week of school, we still have the kindergartners slide down the slide, and we have our 5th graders out there to cheer them on and welcome them into their house team. So new staff, same thing. With the staff, I give a little more flexibility.
Down the road, they're begging to be
I'm like,
in
you know,
a different one.
yeah,
Are
no,
they in-
the students don't ask to switch, which is cool. But the staff sometimes ask to switch, and I'm like, well, you know, I know integrity is the best, but can't all be on integrity. So, but yeah, sometimes we do have to move the staff around a little bit just to balance, so that we have, you know, equal amounts of adults with kids. But the students, the number stays pretty good all the way through 5th grade, because they just matriculate up. And then Bridger actually has the same core values we do, except for one. They don't really do the house teams, but they have, so our kids have already learned these core values when they transition to our middle school. They know the core values in middle school as well, so.
All right, thank you.
Can I add to that? At our school, we do have a wheel, and you're all invited to come and spin. We always say the wheel chooses, and it does. But also some other additional costs that we had, because when we came back, I wanted to add to the decor of the Ron Clark. So, and I was fortunate enough to get a grant through the North Las Vegas micro grants 2 years in a row. But this is the last year, unfortunately. But that grant was $20,000 total, so we were able to buy this year's shirts for all the students, because last year I noticed that on house days, a lot of our students couldn't afford the shirts. So this year I bought shirts for the whole school. And so that was a cost. That was optional, but it was something that we wanted to do. And then we also, for our house experiences, just paying for I just allocated a certain amount of money for each house so that they could buy items. Sometimes we'll do bingo or different, you know, slime, whatever the team. It's student-led, so they get to come up with things that they want to do on house meetings. So those are just some additional costs. Of course, yes, the banners and murals and things like that to add to it. And so it is pricey when you use the Ron Clark website, but it does look nice. So those are just things that, you know, they're not mandatory, but it's something that you would want to, you know, pay for to add to the program.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, I know you were asking, like, when the kids, like, they ask to switch houses. Well, I was one of those kids. Like, when I first got my house, I scratched off the paper, and I was like, altruismo, color black, this is boring, I don't want this. And I kind of just wanted Amistad, and, like, I was telling all of my teachers about it, and they were, obviously, I was supportive. They were like, the house chooses you, like, that just comes to you. But I think that just kind of, like, ties into the real world. Like, you don't always get what you want. And then as time passed, I learned to love my house. Like, I was seeing how people were excited to get my house. I was like, you know, maybe I like this. Maybe I give it a try. And I think that just ties a lot into the real life. And that's what we should be teaching the kids. Like, even though you don't always get what you want, you gotta learn to be happy with what you get. Thank you.
Trustee Biasotti.
Thank you, Madam President. Very, very wise words. I'm impressed by that. In our 300-plus schools, how many schools participate in this house system? Do we have a number?
Yeah, it's about 66.
Okay, I would love to see this in high school.
No, not 6, 7.
Not 6. Ms. Black, I know one thing you said, climate isn't one thing, it's everything. It really, I agree with that. What is one RCA practice you find most effective for cultivating a positive school climate amongst staff?
So I would say the most, well, thank you for the question. I would say the most important thing at Lincoln is that when the families come on campus every morning, they are greeted by at least 10 adults before they even get to their classroom. Wow. And so our families know that we are a welcoming school. We know them, they know us. We know 90% of the kids' names, at least I will say that. So because we are out, we are present, we are visible, we are making it feel safe. We have counselor out front, social worker, campus monitor, my office managers at the front door greeting kids, specialists are in the lunchroom for breakfast connection. So I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not going to say necessarily that's from Ron Clark, but our school culture at Lincoln is very positive, and when people come there, that's one of the things that they comment on is the culture. They can feel it when they walk in, and I'm like, you better. We work hard. It's hard work.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful to hear. And Ms. Jefferson, I was impressed by the 89% quote you mentioned drop in suspension, and it really demonstrates the importance of driving these pillars. Mr. Yee, thank you so much for rising to the occasion. The Amazing Shake was incredible to witness, and to see these students just ready to sit here at the dais. They're just so prepared. And just congratulations to Judy. Maybe we'll see you in Atlanta next year. So thank you.
Trustee Esparza Stoffergen. Wow. Impressive. So I want to ask a question of the student, but I'm going to ask you the question, but you're going to have time to think, and then I'm going to ask them questions. Is that okay? Okay. I know how it is to try to get that vocabulary and think about it. So you talked about you're going to transition and you're going to be the president, I think, next year?
I'm already in high school. I'm already president this year.
Oh, so you are. Okay, so perfect, even better. So you experienced all these different things when you were at Lawrence. So my question for you, and please think about it first, what are some of the things that you learned at Lawrence that now you're applying in your leadership ability and your role as a leader now? So think about it. Now here's the question for the principals. So math is a focus district-wide. It's one of our 4. I saw on there that it talked about math nights. This is a whole different experience. So what is so different from what math night might have looked for our families before versus what math night looks now under the concept of RCA? Anyone? What can parents expect?
I'll take my think time.
Thank you for the question. One aspect, of course, is the healthy, friendly competition that we talked about. They're getting points for their house. Another part to me is you've built those connections and relationships because you've had those smaller houses that you know more people. And so it's just very inviting and welcoming. And so you have that component as well where it's a family. So it just encourages everyone. They want to come. You know, they're familiar, they're, excited, energized. You just have that culture already established through your Ron Clark, house system. So to me, that's a different aspect. Thank you.
I can't speak to math night. We don't do a specific math night to prepare for SBAC or anything, but one of our Safari Scholar Challenges actually took place in our math classes. Being a former math teacher myself, there's so many standards to teach. We don't go so fast. But so to pair that up with the RCA strategy, our students had to, in the 8th grade, they were working on volume, and each student was receiving, they were the manager at a movie theater. They had to identify what type of popcorn container were they going to sell. So was it going to be in a cone, a cylinder, or a rectangular prism? And they had to discuss and persuade the entire class to come to a consensus about what is more appropriate to sell at their movie theater. And they started, without us even prompting them, they started to talk about cost and profit. And even though you might sell more but only get a smaller profit, you're selling more, so it increases fast over time. And just those speaking skills to stand up and still do the formula, but to present that to your class as a middle schooler was preparing them for life after middle school. So we definitely make sure that we are hitting those standards, but we're introducing that confidence and explaining your answer that leads into success on those state tests.
I can always talk. We also do project-based learning So we don't necessarily have family nights, but at the culmination of the project, families are invited in, and the students celebrate their project and explain, what they did and share that with the family. So it looks different in each grade level. First grade just did a Healthy Me, and so the families got to come in and see how they worked with the PE teacher, they worked with the art teacher, they worked with our social emotional learning teacher to learn more about being healthy, not just in food, but always, right? So that's just an example. Fourth grade's done the Tiny Homes project, and so the parents get to come in and they get to present the home that they designed and the specs and how much it's going to cost and all of that. So we're really giving them the full experience.
I appreciate each of you sharing different real concrete examples because I did observe it at the Great Shake. And you were hearing it from kids about wanting to have real world connections. So speaking of students, are you ready, Judith? All right.
Of course, always. So I did my list over here, and I want to start by saying the first thing that I learned was race to the occasion. That was something that was always on the point, because when you go to the Global Amazing Shake, obviously you're not gonna go dressed as the same way as you go dressed to a family, friend, party, whatever. But then I think I used this the most in high school when I was running for freshman president, because they don't give that to you, you gotta earn it. When I was doing my interview, I was the only candidate with an actual suit or actually formal dress. And second of all, you heard the name, Amazing Shake. I was the only candidate that gave the judges a shake before answering my questions. And they were really surprised by that. They were like, where do you learn that? That's not something you're supposed to do. And then I want to tie that back to the real world. I'm 15, I just turned 15. When I turn 16, I'm planning on starting working. And what's the first thing you do in every interview? You shake everyone's hands. And then continuing on, as you see, public speaking, I used to be a very, very shy person in sixth grade. I bet Mr. Yee probably didn't recognize me at that time. But as you can see right now, I think what Mr. Yee and the whole school has supported me to learn about being able to just express my mind in a way that it seems logical and not like a kid is talking, if you know what I mean. And then just to end the soft skills, I think soft skills should be taught in every single school. You're always gonna need them, because all the hard skills, obviously you're gonna learn it, math, another language, but those soft skills that sometimes we overlook at them, we say they're not necessarily enough. They're not that necessary for us to teach it. I think they're actually necessary, because when you go do those real connections in the world, you're gonna need them. And when I'm doing them right now in my high school, in the first day of school, I remember my first class, everyone was super shy. Freshmen, what do you expect? I was the only person trying to talk to people. At my table, everyone was quiet, and I was trying to start a conversation, which that's why I think all these soft skills are needed. Thank you. I hope I answered your question correctly. Thank you.
I'm going to close it out with a question. It's not for you guys. I want to know where the media is. They should have a new segment and call it Winning in the Classroom, because that is what this is. This is amazing. I don't have specific questions. I think my colleagues hit it all on the head. But I will say this. A few years ago, I had a conversation with someone who worked in Homeland Security, and they told me that terrorist groups, gangs, police, military, they all recruit from the same pool. They look for young people who are looking for belonging, purpose, identity. And what I find absolutely amazing, and why I understand why people say teachers are heroes, is because when you have programs like this and when you spend this much time impacting these lives, you're making a huge difference in the world. So thank you for this work. Thank you for coming up and spreading your wisdom. You were amazing, and really, really love this. Thank you. All right, that will close us out on 2.04. We will open 2.05, also not an action item. This is Core 4 Bridge Work Update. And I will pass it off to Dr. Colquitt.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Anna Colquitt for the record. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Dustin Mansell and Stacy Sly, along with some of their teams. And today, we are here to give you an update on the work that has taken place with the Core 4 bridge work. We are eager to bring you the finalized strategic plan in May, but in the interim, we have prioritized the Core 4 bridge work to be the connection point between Superintendent Ebert's 100-day plan and CCSD's official strategic plan. The Core 4 was founded on concentrating on 4 key areas where we have seen progress in our district and have an opportunity to continue to accelerate student outcomes. These are the 4 tenets of the Core 4. We will go through each one individually and provide updates. As an overview, a root cause analysis was conducted in each of these areas, resulting in responsive actions for the district to take regarding pre-kindergarten, early literacy, middle school mathematics, and workforce and college readiness. Today, we are here to provide you with an update on what we have done to respond to those proposed actions. I will now turn it over to Dr. Dustin Mansell to introduce his team.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Dustin Mansell. I am honored to introduce 6 amazing instructional leaders. Elena Kreiner-Wilson, our Assistant Superintendent of the Curriculum and Instruction Division. Dr. Delilah Crash, Director of Early Childhood from Student Services Division, who is unable to join us today. Nicole Sailors, Director of the Early Childhood Education Department from Curriculum and Instruction Division. Rachel Solom, Director of the Literacy and Language Development Department. Jennifer Lyle, Director of the Mathematics Department. And Gia Moore, Assistant Superintendent of the College and Career Readiness and School Choice Division. We are also joined by the amazing Stacy Smith, the Assistant Human Resources Officer, who is a key collaborator in this work. Together, these district leaders have been instrumental in developing and delivering responsive actions for each root cause within the Core 4, pre-kindergarten, early literacy, middle school math, and workforce and college readiness. Over the next few minutes, we will review the root causes, responsive actions, and provide an update on each item within the Core 4 bridge work. Our first Core 4 focus area is pre-kindergarten. Through our analysis, we identified 4 primary root causes impacting effectiveness and access: systematic policy and funding deficiencies, infrastructure gaps, workforce and professional development challenges, and family and community engagement barriers. For each of these root causes, we have taken deliberate and strategic actions. We have developed responsive action plans aligned to each identified gap, established centralized systems and structures to ensure consistency and sustainability, and delivered targeted professional learning opportunities along with essential tools and resources to support implementation. These efforts are designed not only to address immediate challenges, but to build a stronger, more equitable, and more sustainable pre-kindergarten foundation moving forward. So at this time, Madam President, I will hand over the presentation to Nicole Sailors and Stacy Sly, who will provide the board with an update on pre-kindergarten.
I did practice this. Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Nicole Sailors. Research indicates that participation in pre-kindergarten leads to long-term benefits, including higher high school graduation rates, increased college enrollment, improved adult earnings, and better overall health outcomes, with particularly meaningful and sustained impacts often observed for children from low-income or disadvantaged backgrounds. To increase access to pre-kindergarten, we collaborated with the Nevada Department of Education to add more than 500 seats for the 25-26 school year. Building on this success, we are currently partnering with the department to further increase the number of Nevada-ready pre-K seats for the 26-27 school year and beyond. The Early Childhood Department will continue to work alongside the Nevada Department of Education and the community to lobby for the funding required to support statewide universal pre-kindergarten programs, ensuring every child has a foundation for lifelong success. To improve program quality, the state uses the Quality Rating Improvement System, also known as the QRIS, to measure our quality in those programs. Currently, all Nevada-ready pre-kindergarten program sites are required to participate in the QRIS as a measure of program quality. There are currently 55 Nevada-ready pre-K sites in CCSD. Additionally, it is anticipated that there will be an increase in Nevada-ready pre-K programs that will participate in the QRIS for the 26-27 school year to focus on increasing that program quality. These programs will engage in strategic coaching sessions facilitated by the Children's Cabinet, utilizing the ECHRS 3 program reports as a framework for professional learning. To further increase program quality, in fall of 2025, the pre-kindergarten teacher leadership cohort was launched with 20 programs enrolling to participate in a comprehensive series of professional learning series aligned with the Early Childhood Environment Rating Scale. Throughout the 25-26 school year. The initiative includes a school support cycle action plan that's co-created with the pre-kindergarten teacher and individualized coaching aligned to the SMART goal that's set in collaboration with the teacher. In the spring of 2026, all programs participating will receive an ECHRS 3 program assessment that's designed to strengthen and enhance overall program quality. This program assessment will be leveraged to develop SMART goals for the 26-27 school year, and currently we have completed 45 coaching cycles to date with these programs. Moving to our next root cause, infrastructure. We recognize that building the capacity of our administrators and educators is foundational to program success. Strong leadership and high-quality instruction are the primary drivers of positive child outcomes. While administrators establish the conditions for success through instructional leadership and continuous improvement, well-prepared educators really deliver the responsive, developmentally appropriate experience that's essential for school readiness. By prioritizing this sustained capacity building, we strengthen educator effectiveness and ensure long-term success for our youngest learners. So to increase building administrator capacity this year, we conducted a pre-kindergarten administrator workshop to support building administrators in effectively supervising and leading pre-kindergarten programs. The workshop session was designed to help school leaders identify the key components of effective pre-K instruction and oversee high-quality early childhood programs by strengthening their understanding of high-quality learning environments that align with both district and state standards. This session provided administrators the opportunity to use the Pre-K Look For tool during learning walks to deepen their understanding of how to deliver meaningful, actionable feedback to teachers. Additionally, a pre-kindergarten administrator instructional leadership series is being developed to strengthen administrator capacity in pre-kindergarten program structure and developmentally appropriate practices. This series consists of 8 professional learning sessions and 2 days of learning walks totaling 30 hours of professional learning for principals and assistant principals. The professional learning series will provide administrators with a comprehensive understanding of the pre-K programs on their campuses, including effective strategies for supporting and supervising these programs. Additionally, to increase school support, we partnered with Early Learning Insight to provide teachers with a series of professional learning sessions aligned to the ECHRS 3 tool or rating scale, with a focus on increasing program quality and providing teachers with the support needed to improve instructional practices. Through this partnership, teachers participate in coaching cycles and receive a program assessment that will provide teachers with a continuous quality improvement report. This report will be used for teachers to create goals and improve teacher instructional practices. We've also applied for the Early Childhood Literacy and Readiness Programs grant, and these funds were made available through SB 460. The project we applied for will provide 100 pre-kindergarten programs with access to a series of professional learning sessions, classroom coaching cycles, and a program action plan to increase high-quality instructional practices with a focus on literacy and language. The grant was due on March 13th of 2026, and the funding period is July 1, 2026 through July 30th, 2027. We're hoping to find out in April if we were awarded that grant. To increase access to programs, CCSD applied and was awarded a $2.2 million infrastructure grant, and the Early Childhood Department is in the process of finalizing schools for this grant. Elementary schools are prioritized based on community need, and high schools are being prioritized based on the CTE alignment at that site. Nevada-ready pre-K programs will be placed at these sites for the 26-27 school year, and we are currently waiting on our final allocation from the Department of Education. Additionally, we are in the process of collaborating with the Grants Development and Administrative Department to apply for FY27 funding to continue increasing capacity for pre-K seats as well. In addressing our third root cause, we acknowledge the substantial body of research identifying the classroom teacher as a primary school-based determinant of school success. High-impact instruction is a critical lever for improving long-term academic and developmental outcomes again. So to address teacher retention, we met with Human Resources to discuss early childhood teacher recruitment and retention. Human Resources surveyed teachers regarding the reasons they may leave a pre-kindergarten teaching position and provided a follow-up survey based on initial results. This collaboration is currently ongoing. And to address the importance of developmentally appropriate instruction and family engagement, we as a department embed developmentally appropriate practices in all of our early childhood professional learning. We developed a professional learning for teachers focused on creating meaningful family engagement and presented at least once monthly for our pre-K teachers and our support professionals as well. We also presented a similar presentation to special education instructional facilitators. We provided updated family engagement modules, including presentations and workshop resources to all early childhood teachers, and we also provide resources and engagement materials to families on the early childhood website that's available. We have ongoing collaborations with a variety of community organizations to share resources with families as well. And to address the individual needs of teachers and provide opportunities for collaboration, we began hosting monthly small learning groups for our early childhood teachers in January. Over 150 teachers participated in each of the January and February sessions to engage in professional learning and collaborate with colleagues to share ideas for implementation. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive for both sessions. There are 2 more monthly sessions scheduled for this school year. The final monthly small learning group for the 25-26 school year will be focused on planning and providing meaningful family engagement. Monthly workshops for development of individualized education programs and behavior intervention plans started in November, and teachers are invited to bring their data and collaborate with early childhood department staff to develop individualized supports for students. And then we're also partnering with UNLV as well to create a cohort of autism teacher leaders. UNLV is providing professional learning to participating teachers, and we are following up with ongoing coaching and support. This is a revolving cohort, and the next group will begin when the first one ends. In addition to the current autism teacher preparation cohort, we are collaborating with UNLV to begin an early childhood special education teacher preparation cohort this summer. And to address our final root cause, we recognize that robust family and community engagement is a cornerstone of student achievement. Establishing formal partnerships fosters mutual trust, facilitates social emotional development, and ensures a strategic alignment of expectations between the home and the classroom. So to improve the current structure for pre-K program enrollment, we began hosting monthly early childhood developmental screening events in November to provide information to families on development and locate children who are currently not enrolled in pre-K programs who may need evaluations for special education services. We have held 2 events at one of our early childhood development centers and 1 event at Tom Williams Elementary School. And then we have an ongoing collaboration with Clark County Family Services to support placement and evaluation of pre-kindergarten age students in foster care as well. We also collaborate with a variety of community partners, including hospitals, pediatricians, and other community organizations to increase community awareness of available learning opportunities and CCSD services for pre-kindergarten age students or children. And we are also collaborating with the Nevada Department of Education and the Children's Cabinet to develop a statewide pre-kindergarten application and support families with enrollment across our local programs. We're working to integrate the Child Find and Part C to Part B transition processes with current CCSD systems to simplify that process for our families. In doing so, we collaborated with our colleagues who oversee the special education management systems to create an Infinite Campus Child Find tab, transition tab. This will integrate our data and ensure it is readily available and accessible when needed. We also collaborated with the experts on our student information systems to integrate the Child Find referral process into online registration. This will simplify the process and enable us to better track and support families. We have an ongoing collaboration with the Children's Cabinet to advertise any open CCSD Nevada-ready pre-K seats and are also supporting our community partners and families by providing information to families on our wait list about available pre-kindergarten opportunities through the United Way of Southern Nevada, the City of Henderson, and the YMCA. And then to increase clarity of common expectations, we did this through two sources. We clarified expectations for family engagement days by providing the Structured Fridays Teacher Expectations document and planning and tracking log to principals. And then this information was also provided to our teachers. And we're currently in the process of creating a pre-K implementation guide for our administrators. And then to share information about child development, pre-kindergarten, and Child Find with families and distribute books to help families of young children build home libraries, we've done a few things. We've attended 35 community events for families so far this year, including all of the back-to-school fairs, the CCSD events that were hosted by the Engagement Unit, and community events that were hosted by community partners such as UNLV, Commissioner Kirkpatrick, Commissioner Justin Jones, the Library District, Clark County Family Services, and Springs Preserve. Our participation in events and collaboration with a variety of partners is ongoing, and we'll continue to actively seek new opportunities to support the community and provide information and resources to our families. We completed an application for the Early Childhood Literacy and Readiness Program grant as well to expand our community outreach and family engagement and support. And if awarded, this grant will enable us to partner with Lakeshore Learning, Nevada PEP, and Vegas PBS to provide family engagement workshops and resources for our families and our children from birth through age 5. I will hand it over to Stacy.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Stacy Sly, and I'm going to put my glasses on. Celebrations. First, I'd just like to highlight a few celebrations in our pre-K work this year. We've continued delivering high-quality pre-K programming that supports both our youngest learnings and their families. This year, we were also able to expand access district-wide by adding over 500 pre-kindergarten seats. In addition, we have expanded professional learning opportunities that empower our administrators and staff to grow, lead, and excel. This includes the teacher leadership cohort focused on high-quality programming, numerous professional learning sessions, and a new administrator pre-K workshop developed in partnership with LPLD. We also have an administrator leadership series forthcoming to further strengthen and support supervision of pre-K programs. Finally, we've established strong community partnerships that create a sustainable pipeline for recruiting and developing future staff, including the Autism Leadership Cohort. This will include representation for our Kids Integrated Delivery of Service, otherwise known as KIDS program. This is our pre-K classroom where we serve many of our youngest students with autism. We are also collaborating with UNLV to build stronger pathway for preparing additional autism teachers to meet the needs of the community. Of course, we continue to face challenges as we work to expand and sustain these efforts. One of our greatest needs remains adequate funding and appropriate space for these programs. Advocating for increased state investment is an ongoing need, as expanding access requires consistent resources to ensure quality, equity, and long-term sustainability. Community awareness is also an area of concern. Many families and providers are still unaware of available early screening and special education supports. This highlights the need for ongoing outreach, communication, and coordination across our community. Opportunities. Looking ahead, we have strong opportunities to continue growing access to pre-K. We can do this by increasing classroom capacity, strengthening staffing models, and leveraging partnerships to meet rising family demand. For instance, in January, we were awarded the Pre-K Infrastructure Grant to support environmental improvements. This funding will allow us to expand pre-K into schools that otherwise would not have had the necessary spaces for our youngest learners. We are also working collaboratively to develop and refine a comprehensive pre-K implementation guide. This guide will be prepared with professional learning to support administrators and teachers in operating high-quality, consistent practices across all sites and classrooms. Now I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Mansell.
Thank you, Nicole and Stacy. So, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, again for the record, Dustin Mansell. Our second Core 4 focus area is early literacy. Within early literacy, we identified 3 primary root causes: instructional quality and implementation, teacher and leader professional development and support, and family engagement and foundational readiness. Each of these root causes represents a critical lever for improving literacy outcomes. In response, we have identified and implemented targeted actions aligned to each area. These actions are designed to strengthen instructional practice, build leadership and educator capacity, and deepen family partnerships to ensure students develop strong foundational literacy skills. So, Madam President, at this time, I will now hand the presentation over to Rachel Solom and Elena Kreiner-Wilson, who will provide the board with an update on early literacy.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Rachel Solom for the record. Research shows us that only 5 to 10% of children who read satisfactorily in primary grades ever stumble later. So we know how beneficial and necessary high-quality literacy instruction is. To address instructional quality and implementation, the Literacy Department is in the process of implementing several actions, including the release of the Literacy and Language Development Plan, which serves as a guide for providing high-quality, standards-based, and culturally inclusive literacy and language instruction to support the academic achievement of all students.
This plan serves as a localized version of the pre-K through 12 Nevada State Literacy Plan, which was developed by the Nevada Department of Education and was released in the CCSD Wire last month. We are also expanding the Reading Skills Centers to 25 additional sites for the 26-27 school year to provide targeted intervention and support to students. These centers are carefully designed to deliver essential Tier 2 small group tutoring, systematically focusing on the 5 pillars of literacy: phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. This focused instruction simultaneously provides crucial support for overall language development, which is a cornerstone of academic achievement. Coordinators in the Literacy and Language Development Department are also engaging in systematic and proactive support through school support cycles to support effective research-based Tier 1 instruction for English language arts and to increase student growth and proficiency in ELA. To date, 29 schools have received the more intensive support of a full support cycle for the 25-26 school year, and schools not designated for a full support cycle still have access to lighter support options through the Literacy and Language Development Department or the HMH Implementation Manager team. So far this school year, 180 elementary schools have been provided this direct support. This comprehensive model is designed to ensure that schools have the resources and guidance necessary to improve literacy outcomes across all grade levels. When you can provide ongoing coaching alongside professional learning, teachers maintain their enthusiasm and knowledge and can continue to apply and sustain that knowledge. Long-term coaching sustains momentum, maximizing professional learning, and delivering a strong ROI in teacher development and retention. To address teacher and leader professional development and support, the Literacy Department is in the process of implementing several actions, including the development of the Literacy Instructional Leaders Institute, which provides 30 hours of professional learning to support leadership teams in identifying systems and structures that support literacy instruction, while promoting a sense of belonging, consistency, and coherence. We will advertise this course in the CCSD Wire this June and begin implementing the course during the 26-27 school year. We are currently providing the professional learning aligned to the science of reading and the teaching and learning cycle. Plan, teach, and assess courses are currently being offered, while Analyze and Respond professional learning will release this May for administrators and strategists, and this June during the Summer Institute for Teachers. And we will continue to work collaboratively with MTSS to revise the data-informed decision-making flowcharts in alignment with updated benchmark assessments and continue to provide the district-wide professional learning plan to support schools in planning for professional learning. Another key component of literacy success is parent involvement. In fact, it's the #1 predictor of early literacy success and future academic achievement. So it is important we maintain a focus on family and community engagement. To address family and community engagement barriers, we have engaged with groups such as the L3 Coalition to collaborate on the Read With Me NV website and provide resources to CCSD teachers and families. This is a coalition of about 30 community partners who have set a goal to double third grade literacy proficiency by 2030. They are asking families and caregivers to spend at least 15 minutes a day reading to their children, and they are putting literacy resources in the hands of families in environments such as hospitals, the foster care system, and in workplaces, so families can read to their students and understand how to help their students with literacy skills at home. We have worked with nonprofits such as the Leaders Readers Network to provide books for every kindergarten teacher and student at 104 elementary schools. With a $117,000 donation from that nonprofit network, on World Read Aloud Day, which took place on February 4th of this year, all kindergarten students and teachers in our 23 Transformation Network schools received a new book to read together in class and then take home to share with their families. Another 81 elementary schools received their books to celebrate Nevada Reading Week. We also have continued to reduce chronic absenteeism through our coordinated Bright Futures attendance initiatives.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Elena Kreiner-Wilson. In terms of early literacy, some important celebrations we want to highlight in what you heard today are: we continue to expand professional learning for administrators and staff, focusing on the components of the CCSD teaching and learning cycle, establishing new Literacy Instructional Leaders Institute, and providing professional learning on the science of reading. To date, 65 elementary schools have completed the 2-year Science of Reading course, with another 163 schools currently enrolled. Of these 163 schools, 100 will complete their Science of Reading course later this month. We have been establishing community partnerships to provide additional resources to schools and families, such as through Read With Me Nevada. We have been working collaboratively with regions and school teams to provide targeted school support to increase student growth and proficiency in ELA through coaching cycles. One of the challenges we see is the ability to secure funding for materials and staff to support intensive interventions. However, as different grant funding opportunities become available, we do seek to apply for these funds. For example, the Nevada Department of Education recently released the grant application connected to Senate Bill 460 regarding literacy interventionist and tutoring grant program. I am excited to announce that CCSD has been awarded funding to support these efforts. Another challenge we see is the variability in site-based instructional leadership, which can create inconsistent expectations, which directly impacts ELA implementation and the quality of teacher feedback. In thinking about what opportunities we see through these challenges, the first is the importance of reinstating the Read by Grade 3 Literacy Specialist Qualified Candidate Selection Pool to ensure we have strong literacy leaders at every single elementary school. This was removed during the 2025-2026 spring budget cycle. We are working with our current selected elementary Tier 1 instructional materials vendor, HMH, to ensure weekly formative assessments in the modules have a strong alignment with standards assessed on the end of module assessments. By aligning these assessments, we create instructional coherence, ensuring that what is practiced every day directly supports what is measured at the end. Lastly, we have collaborated with the English Language Learner Division to include language supports within our Teacher Clarity Guides. The additions to the Teacher Clarity Guides support students using language to help them demonstrate what they know and the development of academic language. Additionally, assessment connections have been called out within these guides to support teachers with their instructional planning.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, again for the record, Dustin Mansell. Our third Core 4 focus area is middle school mathematics. Within middle school mathematics, we identified 3 primary root causes: leadership and systemic support deficiencies, teacher professional knowledge and instructional practices gap, curriculum, assessment, and grading alignment issues. Each of these root causes highlight critical areas that directly impact student achievement and instructional effectiveness. In response, we have identified targeted actions to each area. These actions are focused on strengthening leadership capacity, deepening teacher content knowledge and instructional practice, and ensuring alignment across curriculum, assessment, and grading systems to create a more coherent and effective mathematics program. At this time, Madam Vice President, I'm going to hand over the presentation to Jennifer Lyle and Elena Kreiner-Wilson, who will provide the board with an update on middle school mathematics.
Thank you, Madam Vice President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert. For the record, Jennifer Lyle. I want to start with the why. Why is middle school mathematics such an important focus area? First and foremost, math is a proven predictor of high school graduation and post-secondary workforce success. And when we look at mathematics as a system, it's important to understand how math is highly sequential in nature, where each year of instruction builds on prior year knowledge. Thus, success in advanced mathematics is dependent on success in algebra, and algebra readiness is set through the learning that occurs in middle school. When teaching and learning of mathematics is purposeful and aligned to student outcomes, math becomes a powerful gateway of opportunity for our students' futures. So as we look at middle school mathematics, we first look at our systems. To address leadership and system support, we are in the process of implementing several responsive actions, including the implementation of a coherent mathematics course progressions for kindergarten through grade 12. In elementary school, this begins with the development of number sense with the focus on building conceptual understanding through enrichment opportunities. In these early grades, our students will have the opportunity to not just build numeracy skills, but also to use that knowledge in problem-based activities and complex tasks, allowing students to apply their math learning in context and with applications in STEM. In middle school, students will then have the opportunity to accelerate their learning, followed by opportunities in high school to participate in advanced coursework, including honors, advanced placement, international baccalaureate, and dual enrollment courses. Instead of asking students simply which math class they want to take, we're asking them, what are your long-term goals and interests, guiding them with the information and tools to meet those goals. With implementation of coherent mathematics course progressions across kindergarten through grade 12, we're shifting enrollment to thoughtful and purposeful pathways that are centered on student academic readiness and the long-term goals of each individual student. As we continue to roll out implementation of the course progressions, the mathematics department continues to provide high-quality professional learning for our educators, revising sessions based on the needs of our teachers. For our elementary and middle school teachers, this includes professional learning that focuses heavily on content knowledge, scaffolding, and differentiation for Tier 1 instruction, whereas professional learning for our high school teachers focuses more on pedagogy and strategies such as small group instruction. Across all levels, mathematics instruction must emphasize connecting foundational mathematics to prepare students for algebra readiness and success in advanced coursework in high school and for workforce readiness. In addition to providing professional learning for our teachers, we also provide focused support for school administrators through the Mathematics Instructional Leaders Institute, MILI. Through this cohort-based series, administrators participate in 30 hours of professional learning to help develop the skills to effectively supervise and coach high-quality mathematics instruction. This includes participating in learning walks with our team as well as their peers. This job-embedded professional learning helps build capacity of school leaders so that they can in turn support the math teachers at their sites. As their capacity to support math instruction grows, our school leaders are better positioned to support their teachers, to support one another, and to collectively elevate math teaching and learning for all students. As we move on to our next root cause, teacher professional knowledge and instructional practice, it is with the knowledge and understanding that having a high-quality math teacher in every classroom is key to improving student learning. As such, we have several collaborative actions in progress to attract math teachers as well as to retain them. Through monthly meetings, Human Resources has met with a working group to finalize a plan to gather educator feedback to help and attract and retain mathematics teachers. Once hired, of course, it's essential that we support them in their work by providing specific professional development opportunities to build educator capacity at every step of their career. We also provide targeted professional learning for mathematics learning strategists who serve as the critical link between district professional learning, school leadership, and classroom instruction. This support ensures strategists are aligned to district priorities and equipped to reinforce instructional expectations, coach teachers consistently, and support administrators in monitoring and strengthening math instruction at the site level. In addition to supporting teachers and strategists, we prioritize administrators who supervise mathematics at 1- or 2-star schools through the Math Instructional Leaders Institute. While many building leaders bring strong instructional experience, they may not have a deep experience in mathematics. Through MILI, we support principals and assistant principals in developing knowledge and leadership capacity needed to drive meaningful improvement in mathematics instruction, strengthen instructional coherence, and create the conditions for sustained change at their schools. By providing professional learning that is relevant and specific to the needs of our math educators at all levels and for all roles, we aim to support math educators in their work throughout their career in CCSD. For our final root cause, curriculum assessment and grading alignment, we again look within our systems. In recent years, middle school mathematics has lacked consistent district-wide expectations across schools, even as students begin taking high school coursework, including geometry and algebra. Unintentionally, this lack of a common semester exam may have contributed to diminished student accountability and engagement during these critical transition years. Implementing a common semester exam for middle school math establishes a clear, shared expectations for all students and educators, strengthens motivation and accountability, and provides a cohesive system that bridges elementary foundations and high school credit-bearing coursework across the district. To address this root cause, we are in the process of reinstating our common semester exams at middle school for mathematics in middle school. This will include district-developed common exams, including the credit-bearing courses such as Algebra 1 and Geometry. This action will help to provide consistent opportunities for learning across all schools and for all students. This experience will also prepare students for the expectations of credit-bearing high school coursework, supporting a smoother transition to transcripted courses and reinforcing the academic rigor associated with earning high school credit. As part of this work, teachers and administrators will have the opportunity to review the common semester exams and provide feedback to guide our next steps for implementation in the 26-27 school year. Alongside exam implementation, the mathematics department will deliver targeted professional learning from middle school teachers to unpack the standards assessed on semester exams, ensuring instructional rigor is aligned with the expectations reflected in these common assessments. This will help prepare educators to support consistent, rigorous instruction and student success in mathematics. Following each exam administration, site-based educators will collaboratively analyze assessment data within professional learning communities to identify trends, address instructional gaps, and inform ongoing instructional planning. Centrally, having common exams will allow us to review trends across schools and regions to identify gaps in students' learning at the end of each semester. And finally, in alignment with this work, the CCSD grading guidelines is being updated to include a semester exam component for both middle school and high school courses.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Elena Kreiner Wilson. In terms of middle school mathematics, some important celebrations we want to highlight and what you've heard today are: we continue to expand professional learning for mathematics educators, including teachers, strategists, and school leadership. Additionally, we have rolled out the updated course progressions for grades 6 through 12 mathematics, creating defined pathways and options for students, setting the stage for implementation in the 2026-2027 school year. The math flowcharts now include middle school courses as well as high school to provide a more informed approach to selecting course pathways that align with student goals and academic readiness. Some of the challenges we have include gaps in supporting roles of mathematics educators. One of the responsive actions in the Core 4 Bridge work is to align instructional mathematics strategists and region-level coaches. Mathematics learning strategists are not available at all schools, and we do not have region-level coaches specifically for mathematics. Additionally, limited funding and staffing capacity present ongoing challenges, constraining the ability to provide sustained, high-quality mathematics instruction, professional learning, and targeted support needed to meet district-wide goals. With professional learning offerings being voluntary, participation does vary across schools and educators, resulting in inconsistent implementation and uneven instructional outcomes district-wide. In thinking about what opportunities we see through these challenges, first is reinstating common semester exams in mathematics creates an opportunity to strengthen alignment between standards, instruction, and assessment, ensuring consistent expectations, increased rigor, and equitable learning experiences across middle school mathematics courses. For professional learning, targeted professional learning focused on conceptual mathematics understanding supports educators, particularly those without a strong mathematics background, by increasing instructional confidence, effectiveness, and coherence in classroom practice. Finally, we have the opportunity to continue alignment of mathematics pathways for both general and special education students, connecting to student interests and their post-secondary goals, enhancing relevance, engagement, and long-term readiness for college, career, and workforce opportunities.
Thank you so much. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Dustin Mansell. Our fourth Core 4 focus area is workforce and college readiness. Through our analysis, we identified 3 primary root causes: educator and counselor knowledge, beliefs and support gaps, systemic pathway design and implementation flaws, workforce and resource shortages, including talent pipeline and materials. Each of these root causes reflects barriers that limit students' access to high-quality, future-ready opportunities. In response, we have identified targeted actions to strengthen educator and counselor capacity, improve pathway design and execution, and address workforce and resource gaps. These efforts are focused on ensuring students graduate prepared with the knowledge, skills, and experiences necessary for success in both college and the workforce. Madam President, at this time, I will hand over the presentation to Gia Moore and Stacy Smith, who will provide the board with an update on workforce and college readiness.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mansell and Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Gia Moore for the record. To operationalize these responsive actions, we are finalizing the master schedule auditing tool for implementation in the 2026-2027 school year. This tool supports in reflecting on pathway design, and it focuses on the following domains: advanced coursework access, career-connected learning, family engagement, and continuous improvement. It's also aligned to the Portrait of a Nevada Learner and will be introduced in the early fall. Simultaneously, we have scaled work-based learning opportunities, including the expansion of Career Exploration Month, which takes place in November, and the launch of Work-Based Learning Month in February. That's when that took place to increase real-world exposure for our students. Last month, in partnership with Employee NV, we hosted a senior workshop for over 500 seniors to prepare for the Clark County Spring Job Fair. Students practiced interview skills, they refined their resumes, and participated in a speed networking session with over 30 business partners, applying their durable skills in real-world interactions. We're also leveraging higher education partners to support schools where growth is kind of plateaued, and we continue to strengthen the middle school to high school pipeline. That's a key part. To further systematize this work, we are finalizing the development of a middle school career exploration toolkit, and we're expanding family engagement workshops at key decision points, particularly during high school pre-registration time. Our workshops have been created specifically for middle school families to support them in navigating advanced level coursework and pathway opportunities. It is a lot for parents. I wanted to provide you with what is actually happening at our schools right now. So this is a representation of the work and the great work that's happening across our schools. So to provide you a little bit further context, this work is happening in real time and it's driving results. As shared during my presentation, feels like just a minute ago, but back in February, we are seeing strong growth in both advanced coursework as well as CTE participation. Schools are really being more strategic in terms of their master scheduling. They're aligning their CTE pathways with advanced level coursework and strengthening four-year planning so students have clear connected pathways. They're expanding work-based learning through internships, industry partnerships, and CTE student organization, and industry-recognized credentials. They're also using multiple data points to responsibly expand access to advanced coursework and ensure students are earning meaningful college credit. Finally, schools are increasing family engagement through workshops, open houses, and partnerships with higher education partners to support informed decision-making. The bottom line is the work is happening and it's working, and we've seen that. We've seen tremendous growth in all these areas, but we still have a lot of work to do. Building on the systems in terms of the work that's happening at our schools, this slide outlines the responsive actions we are taking at the district level to further strengthen and scale that progress. First, we're continuing to strengthen our comprehensive communication strategy to ensure that students and families receive clear, consistent, and timely information about pathways and opportunities. Second, we are deepening professional learning for school leaders and counselors by providing clear, more actionable tools, including aligned CTE career guides, as you see on the screen, and structured advising resources that connect pathways to advanced level coursework. As shared earlier, we are initiating a CTE master scheduling reset, and that will take place in the fall. And we want to ensure that the programs are strategically aligned and student access is more intentional. Finally, our updated career guide brings this work together. It includes a career assessment tool, labor market connections, aligned advanced coursework, and clear pathway maps to strengthen career coaching and advising. It is available digitally on our CTE and CCSD website, as well as in print for our schools. And I also want to add, we are, as we speak, in development of a middle school career guide as well. So that will help bridge the elementary to middle school, have the whole suite there. So these actions ensure our systems and supports and communication continue to match the strong work already happening in our schools. I'll pass it to Stacy Smith.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, for the record, Stacy Smith. Our human resource team has moved beyond traditional job boards. We are actively selling the district through social media, community partnerships, and industry-specific outreach. Our efforts are working. We are seeing a significant downward trend of licensed vacancies compared to the same time last year. One of the biggest hurdles is the red tape that prevents industry experts from entering the classroom. We are identifying and revising provisions to make it easier for skilled professionals to share their expertise with our students. We utilize data to update the critical labor shortage list. This allows us to utilize legislative tools to fill the highest need roles more quickly, including the CTE teachers. We are also performing a deep dive into the cost of CTE pathways to ensure that high-tech labs and materials are fully funded, not just surviving on old budgets. While we are focused on today, we are already preparing for the 2027 legislative session. We are building the data-driven case for resources while we need to keep our programs competitive.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, G. Moore for the record. I want to highlight again, and I had an opportunity in February to really kind of drill down into some of these celebrations, challenges, and opportunities. But I think our biggest celebration, I believe Trustee Zamora touched on it earlier, is our availability of robust CTE pathways within the Clark County School District. Every school has this opportunity, and while I believe we do have some room for growth and maybe realignment into our labor market needs, we have a great bright spot in the district regarding that. We also have significant growth in advanced coursework, and it's not just growth for growth's sake, it's growth in a very considered way. We're making sure that if a student is enrolled in this coursework, that it means something once they leave us. The challenges, again, something we're still continuing to work on. I said we still have work to do. We want to make sure that this process is systematized and that it is multiple levels of engagement when it comes to awareness. Our families are our first stop where we have to really refine how we're engaging with our families. We've had some great family workshops, particularly with our middle school families. But in some of the reflection, I believe that in the content we delivered, I felt like they were well attended and things, but I think we need to work better on making sure that we're using parent-friendly and student-friendly language. I think sometimes in that reflection, we get caught up in more of the academic language of how we're communicating this, so we have to figure out better ways of making this make sense from a parent perspective. So if that was a self-reflection, I would say that that would be one. And again, more intentional, developmentally appropriate career exploration. We have some great bright spots. I know that the student up here was talking about junior achievement and their engagement with that. We have all different kinds of things happening, but we need to make sure that all students have those opportunities, and I think we're definitely on the right path. In terms of opportunities, intentional alignment of core academic CTE coursework with CTE pathways, the advanced level coursework with the CTE pathways, and we're taking a look at some things such as what is the function of a course catalog at a school, right? I don't know how many of you have looked at a course catalog lately, but there's a lot of information in that. Going back to where I said we need to make it more parent-student friendly, how can we take a look at that to make it more friendly and more palatable for families? And we have some schools that are already doing some of that work. How can we broaden that? So I think that's a great opportunity for us. And then strengthening the master scheduling guidance. And again, as I mentioned, we'll be doing a whole reset in the fall to provide our schools with a toolkit, a rubric, a self-reflection tool, like how do I get to where I want to be? What's my destination that I want to be at, and what is my path to get there? And it doesn't just happen in professional learning in and of itself, where we're in a room, they have to get out and they have to see what's happening at other schools because they have to try to visualize it. So we're trying to reimagine what that professional learning will look like so it'll be different than what we've done to be a little bit more impactful.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Ebert, Anna Colquitt for the record, thank you for the opportunity to share our updates on the Core 4 bridge work, and we will now accept any questions or comments.
Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I think somebody said it earlier, a lot of great work going on. Just thank you so much for each of you. You guys are exemplary, and you are at the top of your profession, and it shows. I know that deputies, if you could share with the superintendent For me, I know that the last pillar is probably the one I'm most familiar with. I'm not sure if I could tell my mom exactly what I just heard. And so I just need a red arrow, yellow, or green arrow. And so that would just be my comment. I'm not sure if I could repeat the information in a public setting. And we have a community engagement meeting coming up on April 15th. I'm not sure if I could do it. I know the 4 pillars, so I have that memorized. So just deputies, if you could share with the superintendent, maybe I just need it in a little bit more simpler form. But I do have some questions. I actually know what a master schedule is from learning about, in a previous administration, they talked about the 4 failure points, right? And they had the faucet and the spigot and whether we had it turned on too much or too low. And I understood about middle school mathematics. And so we were intentional about looking at master scheduling. Back then, we weren't intentional, and now we are. And so there has been movement of the needle. I would just need to be able to repeat. This is very simple. We went from 7 to 200, that type of thing. So just for me. The other thing that I would share is on the reset for that master scheduling. You said it's going to happen in the fall. If you could just go a little bit deeper, simple on what that would look like. Also, Ms. Smith, you talked about in the recruitment, congratulations to the HR team. The only thing that I could remember in my head is that we had 1,400 vacancies, and that came down to 200. And so that's what I repeat. And I know there was a whole lot of other stuff, but that's what I can remember. So my question is, you said the red tape on industry experts participating, and would that be legislatively, or is that an internal policy that we need to change? And then my last question would be, establish a work group to identify specific barriers to teacher retention. And it has to do with this summer. Your partnership, and I don't remember who presented on this, there's a partnership this summer with UNLV and a cohort on special education. And my question was, what is the amount in the cohort? How many teachers or individuals will be participating in that cohort for us to be very intentional in developing special education teachers?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Bustamante Adams. I'll start with what a snapshot of what that master scheduling reset will look like. And so we will be engaging with schools to begin with, so the principal, the curriculum, AP, and a counselor. So that's who will begin that training. And then we'll have subsequent training to provide ongoing support to schools. But a key part of this will be the domains that I mentioned. And so I'll kind of highlight one of those. So one of them, the first domain, is pathway design and master scheduling. And so through the portrait lens, it's about empowering. So we have to empower our students and families. And so do students experience a coherent, sequenced pathway that aligns academic coursework to post-secondary goals? So is it what what the student is taking and what we're offering that student, helping them with their goals once they leave us, whether that's career, whether that's college? So that's the guiding question. Then we get into more of a self-reflection piece within the training where we give them anywhere from emerging, developing, to innovating. So what does that look like? And so it's not just merely about going through that rubric, it's about saying, if you're emerging, pathways and courses are really just existing in isolation. They're not working with each other. So if I'm in like a health science pathway, I really need to be in higher level math, and I need to be in chemistry, et cetera. So I need to see certain things in my coursework that will help me with that end goal. If I'm just taking courses in isolation, if I'm just using a CTE class as an elective, those things are not going to work in the way that they should be working. If I'm moving more to the innovating level, then I'm making data-informed decisions. I'm leveraging that data that's available to me to make sure that not only am I reaching the students that I need to, but that it's also showing me where they may have bright spots, right? Like in guiding those conversations where they can be in pathways with some guidance. But that this scheduling allows students to personalize their learning across the learning experiences. So innovating, I would say that if you're looking at Northeast CTA, if you were to ask any student at that school, they have a career leaf. They know what they're working towards. So that would be like an example of innovating, right? But we have to provide schools the toolkits and the examples so they can start to imagine what that's going to look like at their school. So basically what will happen is we'll start with that, we'll talk about the framework, and then we'll be providing schools with examples and having conversations about what that can look like, and then we will be developing an actionable plan for each school site.
So just to help me out, Ms. Moore, so who's having the conversation? Is it on the campus with the student? And will every student have an opportunity for that conversation?
Thank you for that question. So what the goal is to make sure that every student that enters into high school, as an example, knows what their pathway is. Now that might change a little bit, but they have a goal that they're working towards. That is part of every student is opted into, example, the CCR diploma, right? So we're all on that track. But what we are doing is making sure that from the counseling perspective, for how we're designing the master schedule, for how we're informing the families of what those opportunities are, all of those things have to be working for that to happen for that student. So that will be the work that we'll be focusing on.
And is it the school counselor? Then I could say to my mom, who's not in this space, the school counselor is going to have a conversation with every entering ninth grader so that they know what path they should be on and the alignment of the courses they need to take to get to the end goal, right?
That is correct.
Got it. I could do that. Thank you. And then, sorry, Ms. Smith, in the recruitment, or I don't know if maybe it was you, the cohort at UNLV in special education, I know we need to start somewhere. It's a pilot. How large will the cohort be?
So right now, we actually have 60 teachers, CCSD teachers, that are in an active cohort that are working on either their endorsement in autism or as a generalist. And then UNLV is starting a new tuition track for teachers who want to do their full master's in autism or early childhood. And there's room for 20 teachers in each category for that. And then next year, we will also do the accelerated autism and generalist track again for another 60 teachers.
Thank you.
Trustee Biasotti.
Thank you, Madam President. And I can attest to the effectiveness of those counseling and pathways to graduation and college readiness. They're pretty amazing. And I feel that families would find this very reassuring, this Core 4 information. I, too, would like to see it more palatable for parents. I know Trustee Johnson and I have our community engagement coming up on Tuesday. So this is something I'd like to speak on. Is this on our website, this information? Core 4 bridge work?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Biasotti. Yes, this information is on our website, as well as the career guide that I shared, and I can also provide hard copies for you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you. Trustee Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief. A big kudos to our Superintendent Ebert for having such a strong team behind her. It really shows because I feel like we should be sending the video for this meeting to all legislators for more funding because you guys are the reason why we need more funding. You guys are just really strong in doing so much work for the small amount of funding we're getting now. So, and I mean per pupil funding for everybody listening. So I'm just going to ditto everybody on the academic language. I love it when it's a little more easier to digest, and so I appreciate that. And also I appreciate, I know one of our pillars is the mathematics, our middle school mathematics, and for some reason, middle school is the point where they need that, that strong math point. I know my kids got that also. And I will attest to the counselors being very, very attentive and reaching out. Like at my school, my students' counselor has been reaching out to me a lot. So I feel it as a parent, and I see it working as a trustee. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. Trustee Henry?
Thank you all so much for a very robust report. It's a lot to digest. I'm like, okay, we went through all four, and I'm like, which questions? So a couple of questions. Thank you for the report on pre-K. For our pre-K teachers, what credentials do the pre-K teachers need to have?
Honestly, I would need to go to the Nevada Department of Education website and look. You can tell? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, so for pre-K teachers, it depends on the program that they're teaching. So for our typical gen ed pre-K teachers, it's typically like a birth through second grade license. So it's the same licensure as all of our other K-12 teachers have. So they are a licensed teacher. And then for our pre-K teachers who teach our special ed programs, they just have a general special ed license. It's called a developmental delay or DD license. And they're able to teach pre-K kiddos who are in a special ed classroom. And then for our kids programs or our autism programs, they actually have to have the autism license, which is 3 through 21, ages 3 through 21 for our different programs.
Okay, that I could have given you. I was thinking the classes that they needed to take.
I don't know that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. My apologies. Okay, and then I noticed throughout the report, it was a mention of, having an increase in our pre-K slots. Currently, how many pre-K slots do we have throughout the district?
That is a very loaded question because we have so many different programs. So we have Nevada Ready, which we have about 1,700 seats, and we actually just got our award for next year. We're adding another 1,720 seats. And then there's Title, which
I'm sorry, really quick, we're adding another 1,720 on top of the 1,700?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're exploding. We're exploding in pre-K. But we also
Okay.
have Title, which I believe is 2,000 seats, Anna? Is that? Okay. Do you have the numbers? Perfect. Just stay here with me, Nicole.
Just sit down.
Thank you.
So right around 14,047 seats right now between our early childhood inclusion, self-contained, and gen ed.
14,000.
47.
Okay.
14047.
Okay, thank you. And then we're looking to add, did I hear 500 more?
No.
Oh, it's more than that.
Yes, 1,720 seats.
I did get that. That's through Nevada Ready.
Yes.
Where did I write this 500 number down?
That was this current year.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to make sure. It was a lot. It's almost like a filibuster in here, respectfully. Okay, no, it's good because we need more slots, and even with, the addition, there's still going to be a gap. So I wanted to know, because you did mention like with the barriers for families, with families, are we also working with our Head Start programs to because I heard so many different partners and I didn't hear anything about Head Start. So I'm just wondering if we're working with Head Start as well, especially for those students and families who may need additional supports.
All right, thank you for the question, trustee. Yes, we do currently actually have 3 sites in CCSD, 3 child development sites where we partner with Head Start, Cecile Walnut, Reynaldo Martinez, and Gates, Yvonne Atkinson Gates Child Development Center. And so we have monthly meetings or quarterly meetings with Head Start where we partner with them. And then we have early childhood kiddos in each of those sites who are kiddos with IEPs or individualized education plans. And we have actually CCSD special education teachers housed at those sites as well who provide those special education services to those students who are enrolled in Head Start.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What was the next? Look, the next core 4. So core. Oh, and even with middle school math, one thing that I loved when my children were in middle school, there was a program at Sedway actually where they had a Saturday school. It helped to increase and improve family engagement by way of we took Saturday math classes with our students. So we were able to learn alongside them within their classroom environment. And so, when funding starts to increase, hopefully that may be a model that we can entertain. And with literacy, thank you all so much for that, the early literacy. I heard a lot. I didn't hear like collaborations or partnerships with libraries, unless I missed it. It was a lot.
Yeah, so with the literacy department, we also have the library services department, and we collaborate with the library district on a variety of things, such as our Summer Reads program, as well as they'll be hosting us as we do Poetry Jam in Bristol Cone for our middle school and high school students here later this month.
Okay. All right, I don't think I have anything else. Thank you, Madam President.
Trustee Johnson.
You get me in trouble. I'm talking in class and I get called on by the teacher, and then here we go. One, I appreciate you all jumping in. All of the work that you're doing is really hard work, and you've put a lot of thought into it, which is what we expect, and you're executing really wonderfully. And so it sounds like our job now is to try to figure out, and I'm taking some cues from what we learned on Monday. We have to ask policy questions or questions that are our responsibility. And so what I heard through a lot of this was, one, there are structural things that you're effectively swimming against the current in terms of funding that is not available or PD structures that are not there. And so I'm trying to figure out how we can be supportive and effective when it comes to helping you pull legislative levers that might support moving the work along faster. So, for example, I think one of you had described pulling the legislative lever when he talked about CTE and making sure that teachers were able to get in classrooms faster, and so that was a legislative lever. Are there other ones that we should be trying to think about as it relates to funding, recruitment of math teachers specifically, incentivizing math teachers to stay? Are there legislative policies that we should be huddling up on and trying to, and maybe this is not for you, maybe it's for you, Superintendent, it's so you can put us to work, because your team is really moving forward, but they are tethered, they have constraints, and I want to make sure that we can pull the policy levers that we need to eliminate those constraints.
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Johnson. Absolutely. I think that's from our Monday session, talking with Kirsten and Brad as we start to develop that legislative platform. But I think you've heard me speak many times as well. Every time that the state has invested in children, children have achieved at a higher rate. we've had our educators stay where they're at in their classroom. So we will make sure, working with Kirsten and team, that number one, we get you talking points now to help, but all of that conversation and developing our legislative platform, we will be working on starting next month. Yes, starting next month. So yes, you hit on all of those pieces and triggers of, how do you not only have our staff stay within CCSD, but long-term at the school they're at. I mean, when Jen Black was there, she's been the principal for 15 years. She's getting to retire. How do we make sure we have that continuity? A principal of the year for our state is very important. So that's a long way of saying, yes, there are specific targeted components. What we need to do as a team is prioritize those pieces, because the list, as you saw, the presentation was very robust. And so and I always say this to my team too, like, we need to create that whole list, and then we prioritize. What are those big pieces, those big rocks that we're going to attack as we move forward? And that's how the Core 4, came about, looking at the data, the biggest components of our system where we need the most help and focus. And we have had in not even 9 months, the 500 seats that we added at the beginning of the year for pre-K, the 1,700 that just came a few weeks ago from the state, the $2 million for, we are putting it out. These are the things that we need to grow pre-K, and the system, the state, is responding. So number one, long way of saying number one, we will get all of the trustees, the major talking points that we've been using, so that you have them. And then number two, already, if you would start thinking about, and when you're out in the schools, thank you for going out into the schools, talking to the teachers, they have a lot of the solutions as well. So we'll work together to shape that for the legislative platform and session.
That's helpful. And then the second part of that question then is, I always think it's helpful when we can just describe what something's going to cost, right? And then just take away the sticker shock. So, I know people often hear our budget, $9 billion, and they think that is infinite just because that's a large number. And I'm not asking for you to answer this question now, but I think it will be helpful for us as we develop the legislative platform, for us also to say, this platform is A, B, C, and D, and to pay an investment of that magnitude means $2.5 billion more, $7.5 billion more, whatever the number is. We say it and we keep saying it so people understand that, to your point, an investment in children leads to outcomes, and not be unapologetic about, we can't skimp on this anymore if we want to get the outcomes that we're working to get. So we're working really hard, and we're being resourceful, and we need to make deeper investments, and that's going to cost us X billion dollars. And just saying it over and over and again till people understand that that's what we need, because they see the results that we're getting.
Right. It's just over $10,000 a year per student. So if you think it's 9 months, right, it's just over $1,000 per month that we're investing in our children at the state level. Just over $1,000 per month. And so yes, when you have 280,000 children, that sounds like a very large number, but breaking it down to the individual child, and again, I turn to our communications team, and those that have been around for a while, we know that we need to not talk those large, we need to put together the large number, but identify how much per child that we're talking about, and then it makes it a consumable, talking about 7-Eleven, language, it makes it consumable for the person that's looking at their checkbook as or a family of two. Like, how can it be, billions of dollars, but when you say, $200, $300 per year a month, it adds up. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Keep up the hard work, and we're going to get y'all some more money.
I don't see anybody else in the queue. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you for the work. Thank you for the presentation. It's a lot of information, but it was very, very helpful. It helps us understand not only the work that you're doing, but to Trustee Johnson's point, the investment that is being made on a regular basis, both financially and from all of you. So thank you. That will close us out for 2.05. Before I open item 3.01, is there anyone who did not get a chance to complete a public speaker card? Do we have any? Well, mark this down. We don't have any public comments tonight. Oh, well, let's hurry up and adjourn. Okay, so I'll close out 3.01. The next meeting of the Board of Trustees is on April 9th, 2026 at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Trustee Zamora.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Trustee Henry.
I'll second.
Awesome. Let's vote. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.